Lambeau Field. It's my favorite. To me, this is what football is all about. It's about it's about grass, it's about tradition, it's about great players, and it's about Vince Lombardi. When I started in coaching, Vince Lombardi was my idol. To me, Green Bay is solid. There's tradition, there's something to hold on to.
I always said, if you're ever going to build a shrine to professional football, it should be right here in Green Bay, Lambeau Field.
And there is no more appropriate place for Sunday Night Football to be on this weekend than right here at that shrine, Lambeau Field. John would love a night like this. It is cold, but the grills are hot, brats are cooking, fans are ready, they are warm. It's a typical Lambeau night. It is tradition-rich NFC divisional matchup. The temperatures are low, the stakes are high. As we welcome you to a very special edition of Football Night in America, Mike Tirico, Chris Collinsworth, get you going tonight from the booth and the stadium where John Madden called so many great games. Just hear the name Brett Favre, and you can hear John Madden saying Brett Favre. Aaron Rodgers saw his career get started as well as a starter. And you spent so much time with John. It's been wonderful to watch the tributes to John Madden all week, especially watching the games today. When you were with him at NBC and at Fox, what was it about John that made him so magnetic and so special, Chris?
Yeah, I'll tell you how stupid I am. I replaced that man twice. That's not a wise thing to do. But I think for John, the thing that sticks out to most to me is that he was sort of just a man of the people. Occasionally you would see him like in a hotel lobby and he would just sit down. And then a couple of people come up and you have a conversation, and then a few more, and people go, is that really John Madden? And then you'd hear John with his very unique laugh, or, and he'd start laughing. And all of a sudden his stories would get a little louder, and then you'd look over and he'd start waving his arms a little bit, and pretty soon the crowd is really gathered around, and it's got a whole bunch of people. And then he'd leave and they'd go, can you believe John Madden just sat there and told us stories in the lobby of this hotel? But that's what he loved to do the most. He really did. So it doesn't surprise me at all that this place, with these people and these fans would have been his favorite.
Yeah, it's one of those nights where it's 14 degrees out, but the stadium's already filling up, and we're still an hour plus from kickoff. It's a special night for all of us on Sunday Night Football because of Madden's legacy, as he was the first one in the analyst chair with Al Michaels on Sunday Night Football on NBC. And Al is going to join us a little bit later. We'll have a special tribute to John Madden. But more on Madden as our Football Night crew joins us from the studio. Maria Taylor, Tony Dungy, and Drew Brees. Good evening, guys.
Good evening, Mike. Thank you so much, and we'll continue to honor the legacy and the life of John Madden. And obviously, he impacted the game in infinite ways, but as Chris just said, he was a man of the people, so there's so many personal connections and experiences and memories that people have. And Coach, I'm sure you have some.
I do, and I can expand on Chris's story. My second year in Tampa, we're starting to win. We finally get the A-team. We get Coach Madden broadcasting our game. I invite my buddy, Matt Gray, down from Pittsburgh, show him a grand time, sideline passes, stay in the team hotel, meet all the players. Saturday after practice, he comes out and he sees the Madden bus. Can you introduce me to John Madden? So I did. And hey, Mac, how are you? Come on the bus. And the greatest time. That was the best thing in the world. He still has that picture. That was the highlight of his week, with getting to meet John Madden.
Yeah, and there's some games that just mean a little bit more than others, whether it's where you're playing or the coach and the quarterback that's on the other sideline or the person who's broadcasting the game. And I know that's the way I felt when John Madden broadcast my first game with him, which was 2006. It was our first year with the New Orleans Saints. We actually got flexed. I think it was the first game ever to be flexed on Sunday Night Football at Dallas. So we're playing the Cowboys, huge game to determine the number 2 seed. And I remember walking into the production meeting, and there's John Madden. Large man, but a larger-than-life man. And just the stories that were exchanged, and just I was more interested in asking him questions than the other way around. But just a man that had such left an indelible mark on this league and had such a strong impact on all of us.
I've loved hearing these stories this week, and I didn't have the honor of meeting Madden, but I was talking to Matt Millen, who's a close friend of his, and one thing he stressed was that he was a servant leader, that he was always a teacher, but also very eager to be a student and always wanted to help people understand the game. And that was something interesting that I took away from it. But one thing that we all know about John Madden was that he had great energy. He had an ability, obviously, to make us understand the game from that broadcasting booth, which we all envy. And we all know his signature boom call. And we actually found the game when it started. So take a look at this.
Conrad got out there a little, and then he looked like he hesitated just before he made the block that sprung Chuck Muncie. Right there was a little hesitation, and then boom, he went in and he got his man, and that was the block that sprung Chuck Muncie for the long run.
All right, that was Madden's first ever broadcast in 1979, Saints 49ers, and someone we know on the field, Coach. Who is that?
Who is it?
Who is it?
That free safety chasing Chuck Muncie down. I didn't know I was involved in the first boom ever. What an honor.
That is an incredible honor and great story for you to have. So we have the original boom here, but we have so many more stories here on Football Night in America. Chris Sims, what memories do you have?
Well, I got a lot of memories. I really do. And really growing up, of course, my dad was the quarterback of the New York Giants, and I felt like John Madden was like the narrator of my dad's life as I grew up. I mean, late 80s, early 90s, of course, the Giants were so good. But I'm at practice on a Saturday and just having a little catch, you know, off to the side, trying to stay out of the way from the Saturday walkthrough. On those practices, John Madden and Pat Summerall would kind of watch practice, but walk the field and talk. So I'm sitting there having a catch and, of course, look a lot like my dad. And Madden, you know, kind of, hey, you're the Sims kid. And I just, yes, that's me. And, of course, just talks to me for a few minutes, but then brings me on the Madden Cruiser. And for a young kid at the age of 9, 10, whatever year it was back then, I mean, this was a special thing. John Madden's bus, getting to go on that, and really from that point on, just great to me. Whenever he saw me, it's like we were friends, two peas in a pod. That's my story of John Madden, a really special guy. Mike Florio, what do you got?
Well, we know so much about Coach Madden as a coach, as a broadcaster, as a video game icon, but one thing that isn't as widely known, after he retired from NBC as a broadcaster, he became an unpaid advisor to the league, and he was a fierce advocate for player safety. He worked tirelessly to come up with ways to make the game safer. One of his focal points, making sure that any player who may have suffered a concussion would be removed from play. And we've seen a few examples over the years where a player was clearly in distress but wasn't removed from the game. He would be livid when that happened, and he pushed harder and harder to make sure that players were taken care of when they possibly were concussed, get them out of the game. And I'm told that he actually spent a couple of years trying to remove the three-point stance from football at every level because he was convinced that as offensive and defensive linemen fire off the ball, those helmet-to-helmet collisions that happen even at low speed were not good for the game. They're not good for the players. He was interested in making everything safer for everyone who put on a helmet and played football. From where, let's go back to Lambeau Field with Jack Collinsworth and Rodney Harrison.
Well, Mike, that is a great description of who Coach was. And Coach Madden, he's just one of the most in-demand people that I ever met. But he always just made everybody else feel like they were his top priority, and that was the magic. How did he impact your career, Rob?
He was broadcasting one of our games, and in his unique voice, he was like, oh, that Rodney Harrison, he's a great box safety. And I'm saying, box safety? I'm not a box safety. I can play it all. But he really pushed me and motivated me to become a better football player.
That's exactly what you did. And his Madden video game, it's been king for 3 decades. Maybe the best day of my life was when Coach Madden gave me a copy of Madden 07. I'm pretty sure it wasn't even 2005 yet, but Coach always lived in the future, and it's how kids like me fell in love with this sport.
It's not just kids like you. It was adults like me, and I almost lost my marriage, my wife, because I was playing that game till 4 or 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. But that game has influenced, impacted millions of people. What an incredible man Coach Madden was.
That's right. In this type of weather, it would make Coach Madden smile. It's a single-digit Sunday at Lambeau Field as the Vikings are scrapping for their playoff hopes against the top seed in the NFC on this frozen tundra. Well, with Kirk Cousins on the COVID list, Sean Mannion gets the start. He has a big arm, but tonight will be his first snap since 2019. He's looking for his first career touchdown this evening as well. And without key players, Minnesota needs a pair of wins to sneak in, while the Packers can lock down the NFC's only first-round bye with wins over Sean Mannion tonight in Detroit next week, while Aaron Rodgers is looking to win back-to-back MVP awards along the way. Why is the reason to believe he can get this Packers team over the top this year?
Well, it starts with Matt LaFleur. He knows and he understands Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is playing some of his best football, but also A.J. Dillon. He's going to be a big part of the game plan tonight and moving forward in the playoffs. It's cold out here. You don't want to tackle 240-pound back in this weather.
And the Packers, they're going to get 3 Pro Bowlers back as well. David Bakhtiari, Zadarius Smith, Jair Alexander. So what will that infusion of talent do to an already 12-win team?
Outside of the quarterback, those are the most important positions. You got left tackle, you got a pass rusher, and you got your all-pro corner. This should set them up for a good run.
And after New Orleans shut out Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, he has been the heavy favorite to win the MVP. He can create even more separation tonight. Maria, back over to you.
Yeah, all he's done is throw 13 touchdowns, 0 turnovers during a 4-game win streak, so another win tonight would be huge for him, Coach.
Yeah, and if I'm Coach Matt LaFleur coaching Aaron Rodgers, I want this bye because the worst thing that can happen to me is have his toe get stepped on. So bye gives us one less chance for that to happen.
Yeah, I think they've learned a lot from their previous experience the last couple of years in the playoffs. I think that more so than ever, these guys on offense especially have these defined roles that they've embraced, and they're truly come together as a team.
All right, so we're getting you set for that game tonight. Let's talk about the games we've already seen today. We've got the Giants on the road taking on the Bears, and the NFL had a moment of silence before the games today, obviously to honor the Hall of Fame coach and legendary broadcaster John Madden. Passed away on Tuesday, but this was an easy one for the Bears and Andy Dalton.
Yeah, the Bears played like this game meant something to them. The Giants didn't.
The Bears win it 29-3. Yeah, the Giants win it with -10 net passing yards. Okay, the Lions on the road taking on the Seahawks. Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll been together for 10 seasons. This is their first losing season. Could be the last time we see them together.
Yeah, and if this was the last home game for that group, it was a good one. Russell Wilson, a couple of touchdown passes.
That game is still in progress, but right now the Seahawks are up big against the Lions. Meanwhile, remember, it's the biggest season ever, meaning we have another week of regular season football, and we don't know the exact schedule yet, but it starts with a Saturday doubleheader on ESPN and ABC, then the typical Sunday afternoon kickoffs on CBS and Fox, and we will wrap it up with game 272 next Sunday night right here on NBC. Well, maybe the reason an entire generation came to love video games was because of the Madden game. And check out the cover boy. Drew Brees was 2011.
Look at him.
Okay.
Yeah, the graphics look really good, Drew, when you were on the cover.
Getting ready.
Drew was one of 22 players to grace the cover. Chris Sims, you're throwing it out of the end zone.
Wow, look at that. They're just trusting me there, I guess. Bombs away.
What was your rating?
Not a 99. Not the same as Drew Brees's.
Gotcha. Okay, Rodney Harrison going up, getting the pick.
He's not a box safety. Look at that.
Look at that.
Coach, were you arguing with the refs here, or were you happy with them?
No, my boys used to play and fumble on purpose. They could see me get mad.
Okay, let's get back to the highlights. Jaguars taking on New England. They're looking to snap a 2-game losing streak. It was all New England, though, today. Trevor Lawrence, another interception.
All New England all day. Just too much to overcome. Patriots defense too good. Trevor Lawrence, still a rookie, had some bad mistakes today.
But some great storylines. Christian Wilkerson playing in his first NFL game, first catch, first touchdown. He had 2 of them today.
Offense was great for New England. Mac Jones was great. The running game was really good, too.
New England
Maybe bad defense.
Maybe that, too.
Oh, Coach is always going to say that. Stephon Diggs giving a tribute there to John Madden. And in the first quarter, Josh Allen doing his own thing.
Yeah, well, that's what Josh Allen does. They ride Josh Allen. That was off of a turnover. But this is when you ride Josh Allen too much, Maria, as we all see every week. This can happen when you're just trying to make plays off schedule all the time.
He had 81 yards rushing, but obviously some mistakes made through the air. He threw 3 interceptions today against Atlanta.
But yes, he did. He was not efficient and kept Atlanta around. But Coach, Buffalo ran the ball today. Yes, that's right. You heard me correct.
The fans are saying it's too cold for you. It's just right for us. Buffalo gets the win 29-15. All right, Tampa Bay on the road taking on the Jets. And obviously Tampa Bay down 14. 4th and goal from the 4. Brady finding Cameron Brate for the touchdown.
Great throw. I mean, this was not wide open. He put it on him right as he came out of the break, and the Jets hung around. I don't understand this one, Maria. It's 4th and a long 2 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Well, it's an opportunity to put the game away. Zach Wilson kept it himself. He was stuffed, and that means that who gets the ball back?
Yeah, I think this guy's kind of clutch. I think we know that at this point. And yes, some questionable calls here by the Jets defense down the stretch.
Well, it's interesting. Tom Brady has more career starts than the entire starting defense on the Jets, and that's how he ends up with this 33-yard touchdown pass to Grayson Jr.
What coverage was that?
I don't know. Protect the goal line. Make them work for the touchdown.
Yeah, the Bucs win it 28-24, but maybe some concerns on the defensive side of the ball after giving up that much on offense to the Jets.
Very concerned. This was a team that rode their defense into the Super Bowl last year. Injuries, they're not the same group playing right now.
No, you're missing guys in the secondary, the defensive line, linebackers. You know, we got the Antonio Brown, Chris Godwin. They're not there either. You know, so yes, a team of all-stars, but I don't know. This many injuries mounts up. It's going to be tough here down the stretch.
Okay, so they sneak out with the win in the Meadowlands, but you mentioned Antonio Brown. That's the other story that came out of this game. A very bizarre scene. AB in the third quarter, the Bucs wide receiver actually took off his jersey, his pads, his gloves. You see his undershirt there, obviously upset. He threw his shirt and gloves into the stands before actually running off of the field. And we're going to hear what Tom Brady had to say about the incident. But first, let's hear from Tampa Bay head coach Bruce Arians.
Can you tell us what happened to Antonio Brown? Did he quit? I've never seen a guy leave the field like that. And is this the last strike for him?
He is no longer a Buck. All right, that's the end of the story. Let's talk about the guys that went out there and won the game.
I think everybody should find, hopefully do what they can to help him in ways that he really needs it. And, we all love him. We care about him deeply. We want to see him be at his best. And, unfortunately, won't be with our team.
Two strong sentiments from the leaders of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We've heard from AB. He had this tweet, Super Gremlin, which is an ode to a Kodak Black song. But let's bring in Mike Florio. Mike, what can you tell us about the situation with AB?
Well, Maria, the organization is very concerned about his mental health. You could hear it in the comments from Tom Brady, both inside and outside the organization. That's the short-term focal point. But if they do move forward and release him, he passes through waivers. If he's not claimed by another team, he becomes a free agent. And it's easy to say, based on what we saw today, that it's over, it's done. No one else is going to give him another second chance. But talent always finds a way. And there are teams out there that are trying to win playoff games and pursue Super Bowl championships. And he helped the Buccaneers get one last year. So if whatever happened today can be explained and it settles down, you can't rule out another team possibly taking a chance on Antonio Brown at some point over the balance of the season.
And Mike, I've said this in the past. I feel sorry for Antonio Brown. He's talented, but he needs help. And the NFL, we're not doing him any favors if we keep signing him and keep rewarding this kind of behavior. Don't sign him until he gets some help.
Yeah, well, we certainly hope that he gets the help that he needs, and we'll keep you updated as we learn more about AB. Meanwhile, the frozen tundra getting set for our Sunday night football game. The Vikings on the road, taking on the Packers tonight.
Temperature in the teens. The feels like is in the single digits as we welcome you back to Football Night in America here at a place John Madden called his favorite, Lambeau Field, Green Bay, Wisconsin, as we work towards the Packers and the Vikings on Sunday Night Football. And no matter what football broadcast you may have been watching today, certainly heartfelt memories of John Madden. Such a close feeling for so many in our industry and all across the networks because John was so special. He worked at all four companies that broadcast the National Football League. As mentioned earlier, his last 3 years in the Sunday Night Football booth on NBC, the first 3 years of Sunday Night Football on NBC, and his partner, another Hall of Famer, Al Michaels. Al joins us now with his recollections of his pal.
To those of us lucky enough to have him as a friend and colleague, and to the millions who knew him through television, there were a lot of things that made John Madden one of a kind. But the common thread to all was what a great communicator he was.
Let's start off and stay after the whole game.
What a thoughtful listener. What a terrific teacher. As a coach, the numbers speak for themselves.
Going to the Super Bowl. Okay, back defense!
Even if a lot of fans today might not know he had the highest winning percentage of any coach who won 100 or more games.
John Madden's grin is from ear to ear on the shoulders of his players.
Then he turned to broadcasting and created a new template with a style that was original, often imitated, but never duplicated.
Boom, we cross him. The left goes to the right goes to the left. This guy crosses here.
Lots of people behind a microphone have football knowledge.
He makes a little basketball twist there and pivot, and boom, the ball's there.
But he was an artist in making the complicated simple.
Give him a lane in there.
Making a complex game accessible, understandable, educational, and usually entertaining.
See how heat does come out of the top of your head just coming off Nate's head?
The same can be said for his iconic video game. When the software people approached John about putting his name on their idea,
And if the defense
he didn't just say yes, he dove in and over the years worked with them to make sure that game was as close to the real deal as possible.
This is what the game of football is all about.
That people could truly learn the game he loved as they played it. All along the way, John's fear of flying compelled that he traveled around the country on his bus, exploring the hinterlands and flyover country at his own pace, genuinely connecting with people from every state in restaurants, rest stops, coffee shops, anywhere. It was like hitting the lottery to have John as my partner in the booth for 7 years on Monday and Sunday nights. But the best memories I'll take with me are just like our first meeting 46 years ago. Going out to dinner, or opening up a newspaper, and talking about history, geography, food, life, anything and everything in addition to football.
This has been the sweetest ride of them all.
John Madden made everyone around him better. He was a larger-than-life character. He was the one and only.
And speaking of the one and only, Al Michaels joins us from California for some more reflections. I loved listening to the words in that piece, Al, so heartfelt and really hitting home. Can you take us back 4+ decades, the first time that you met John?
1975, Mike, I was doing a regional game for CBS in Oakland, went over to his office at the practice facility, sat there, talked about football for about 5 minutes, then talked about everything else. And he brought up at that point one of his favorite books, the classic Steinbeck book, Travels with Charlie, where Steinbeck went around the country with his dog. And John said, when I retire from coaching, and I knew it was going to be sooner than later, and it was, he was going to get a motorhome and explore every part of America. And as it turned out, of course, on that bus, John did exactly that. He left the poodle at home, but he saw every nook and cranny of this country.
You know, Al, do you remember the very first time we all got together on Sunday Night Football? The whole group did. It was a preseason game in Cincinnati. Of course, Holly had everybody over at the house, and everybody wanted to meet John. I had some friends and family around there, and I said, hey, John, you know, before you really get going, can you just say hi to my 2 boys over here? So he goes over and he said, you know, you guys play football? And he goes, yeah, we play in the junior football league. And coach goes, oh, yeah. He said, well, what kind of defense you play? He goes, we play a 6-2. We play a 6. And John goes, a 6-2? I know all about a 6-2. And he takes the salt pepper shaker and and then he gets all the utensils and he lines them up and he's got a 6-2 out there. And he's, you know, flailing his arms and he's doing the whole thing. And my boys are sitting there just wide-eyed. They could be. An hour later, he's still there talking football with those 2 boys. He gets up at the end of it and goes, this has been one of my favorite parties. Thanks for having me over there. Didn't say hello to anybody, but he was so all into those boys and the way they love football. And that's the connection that I think that he really ended up having with everybody in America.
And you saw that, Al, all the time.
You know, he did that at dinner as well. He would take this pepper and salt shaker, and then he would take the silverware. And one night, speaking of Green Bay, we were having dinner in Green Bay, and I ordered French onion soup without the onions. I don't like any vegetables at all. And he said, what? And they brought it out without the onions, and then he made the chef come out. He said, how do you do this? Does the broth go in first? Do you put the crouton in? You put the cheese in? Tell me how it's done. This was John. He was a great teacher, but he loved to learn. And he was such a great conversationalist about anything and everything. And I think one of the things that, you know, really have to point out about John, he made everybody around him better. You listen to all the players that played for him through the years and how much they loved him. And those of us who broadcast with him and spent time on that crew, everybody loved him. He always came with a bright outlook. He always came in a realm where everybody had to live up to John's standards. He made you do that, and I'll never forget him on any number of levels. That would be probably number 1.
As we were texting that night after he passed, as you said, Al, a unicorn, one of a kind, won't see anyone like him. Thank you. We'll see you next Sunday night. Enjoy the game, pal. Al Michaels joining us from California. And the Madden thoughts and tributes are on the mind of every generation, including some of the players on the field here tonight. Guys out in warm-ups before the game wearing T-shirts, just remembering John Madden, 60 years apart in age, but a part of all of us. Football Night in America continues with more highlights with Maria and the guys back in the studio after this.
Celebrating the victory, presented by Allstate.
Jim Madden has done a master job of game planning and preparing them. Oakland now just set a new Super Bowl record for total yardage. The Raiders score again. They were off the ball. Their timing was good. You could see it was going to be one of their days. That's the toughest job Oakland's had today. Lifting John Madden up, and the Raiders have won a Super Bowl championship. They are world champs.
Football Night in America is brought to you by Applebee's. Now that's eating good in the neighborhood. And by U.S. Bank. We'll get there together.
On fire as well lately. We know that Rodgers-Adams, a very special connection, one of the best in football, and that's what Drew and I are going to break down for you a little bit here as far as what goes on in this football game. All right, so here we go. We got this play right here. We go, Drew. We're gonna have a little play action pass. Dylan fake the reverse. Here's Devontae Adams gonna be running the crosser, and we got another crosser going the other way.
Yeah, really common play in the red zone. A lot of teams run this. You call it these double spears. Now listen, it's really designed for man, not zone. Minnesota does a nice job. They pass it off in zone so nobody's open. But this is what separates the Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams from others. Off-schedule play, Aaron Rodgers starts scrambling. He signals, hey, Devontae, slide inside. That's where the hole is. These guys have such an incredible chemistry and ability to read each other's minds, find the open hole, and make the big plays.
Yeah, that's what's special about them. It really is. I mean, you know, it's like my John Madden. Hey, that's the thing about these guys. You cover them, and they still score a touchdown. They're pretty unbelievable. Download the PointsBet app and get betting options you won't find anywhere else. Maria, over to you.
All right, let's get back to the highlights, Coach. And we start with the Carolina Panthers on the road taking on the Saints. Saints trying to stay alive. We take you to the fourth quarter. Taysom Hill looking to Alvin Kamara, and he'll take it.
And Kamara was so big today on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, his 9th touchdown this season, his 5th receiving TD. Less than a minute ago, Panthers still down 8. Sam Darnold sacked the defense stepping up.
Yes, once they got the lead, Cam Jordan and that defensive line took over.
Jordan had 3.5 sacks today. Impressive. The next play, Darnold is intercepted by C.J. Gardner-Johnson. The Saints get to stay alive in the postseason race. They need a win and a little bit of help next week to get in. So keep playing the game, guys. I think that's what they're doing. I think they're playing Madden as a celebration. I don't know. The Eagles taking on the Washington football team, Coach, and Washington need to get a win against the Eagles to keep their playoff hopes alive.
And this is where Taylor Heineke has been huge, and he had a chance here. This is just unfortunate. It's part of the rules. Incidental contact, they call, not pass interference. It's the right call by the rule.
Rodney McLeod gets the interception. The Eagles seal that win 20-16, and the Eagles have won 4 of their last 6 games. Trey Lance getting the start for the first time since week 5 because Jimmy Garoppolo is out with a thumb injury, and he starts getting going as this game goes.
He was sluggish early on, but they got some design plays out of the pocket, and that's when Lance really started making it happen.
That touchdown was to Elijah Mitchell. Then in the fourth quarter, Lance finding a familiar target, Deebo Samuel.
Another one of those design plays to get him on the move, and Samuel is just tremendous.
Yes, so San Francisco picks up their 6th win in the last 8 games. Time now to simplify the game, powered by Microsoft Surface. Chris?
Well, Coach said it. I mean, Trey Lance was pretty impressive after a little bit of a slow start. We know he's an athlete. We know he's got a strong arm. No doubt about that, Drew. We wanted to see if he could play quarterback, manage situations, make accurate throws, and he did that today. And I think that's what we're going to show you here right off the bat. First off, right, Drew, we know he's an athlete. Bootleg off the Shanahan run game. Great job here. You know, pumps, gets the defender to jump in the air, reads the coverage, understands 2 guys are driving on Kittle, makes a nice throw down the field, gets a first down early on.
Yeah, but the key to playing quarterback in the National Football League is your ability on 3rd down to stand in the pocket and deliver throws like that. Tight window throws, getting the ball out of his hand quickly. You've seen the maturation from the beginning of the season until now, his ability to decipher what's happening, get the ball out quickly.
Yeah, it was impressive. It was good game by Trey Lance. 49ers, pretty good on offense altogether, Maria.
And honestly, Chris, Chris, we saw the maturation of a quarterback throughout this game, Coach. You mentioned it during the highlight.
Yeah, and to me, that was the most important thing for San Francisco today. Yes, they had to get the win, but they may have to go all the way with Trey Lance, and they got him comfortable. As the game went on, he looked like a winning quarterback in the NFL.
Threw 2 touchdown passes in the second half, and that was a huge move for the San Francisco 49ers. So for the latest on the wild card race, let's get it over to Steve Kornacki for the first time tonight. Break it down for us, Steve.
Yeah, NFC wild card coming down to the final 2 spots, 4 teams in contention for those final 2 spots. And in a few hours from now, it could be 3 teams. That's what's at stake for the Vikings. Unless they can pull off a mother of all upsets tonight against the Packers, the Vikings with a loss would be eliminated. Also, if the Vikings lose tonight, the Eagles would clinch one of those final 2 wild cards in the NFC. So if the Vikings don't beat the Packers, the Eagles are in, and then it all comes down to the Niners or the Saints. The Niners, what they would have to do is just win next week. Could be a little difficult, though. They are playing against the Rams. What the Saints will need, they need the Niners to lose to the Rams next week, and then the Saints have to knock off the Falcons. On paper, at least, a more winnable game for the Saints, but they're going to need some help to make the playoffs.
All right, well, guess what? The 49ers have won 5 straight against the Rams. We'll see if they're able to pull it off. Sean Mannion fighting an uphill battle, filling in for Kirk Cousins, who's out with COVID-19 in our Sunday Night Football matchup.
Simplified the game, powered by Microsoft Surface, the official sideline technology provider of the NFL.
Get the point started. Oh, big, what a trip of bits. More, please, more. Holy smokes. Touchdown.
As we rise from the flames. Heart of a lion, never say never.
Number 443.
This is Football Night in America, served by Applebee's.
The hometown green and gold are used to Hall of Fame quarterback play, but the defensive growth has elevated Super Bowl expectations, and it's hard to believe. Rasul Douglas was available on Arizona's practice squad. What has he brought to this secondary? As a midseason pickup, he was.
He's been fantastic. He came in November, had to learn the playbook, 5 interceptions. He's a big reason why they have the #1 seed.
Tough matchup tonight he has with a young superstar in Justin Jefferson. He's our Sunday Night 7. How many receptions and receiving yards for him tonight?
Well, no Adam Thielen, and I expect a lot of Dalvin Cook. I expect him to have 6 receptions. He's still a baller, between 65 and 79 yards.
Well, with $1 million on the line, you can make your picks along with us on the NBC Sports Predictor app. Maria, will get it back over to you.
Thanks, Jack. We'll get you back to the highlights. And longtime Broncos head coach Dan Reeves spent nearly 4 decades in the NFL as a player and coach, passed away yesterday at the age of 77. And he was with the Broncos for 3 Super Bowl appearances. But it's Justin Herbert, it's Mike Williams, and it's the Chargers that played well against the Broncos.
No doubt. Dominated the football game from the go because offense couldn't do anything.
Yes, and meanwhile, Denver loss officially eliminates them from playoff contention. The Raiders are honoring John Madden as well. He coached the Raiders for 10 seasons, including a victory in Super Bowl 11. Carson Wentz, though, starting for the Colts today after being cleared off the COVID list a little slow to start, but then a little bit of Hilton magic might
Well,
help
yeah,
out.
a little bit of a horseshoe luck right here. Certainly, this was not a good decision. Carson Wentz, it was not an easy game for him. You could tell he missed practice all week, but this was luck was on his side here with T.Y. Hilton.
Right place, right time, I guess. Early in the 4th, Wentz overthrows his wide receiver. Then open Hilton on that play.
Big moment right there. I mean, should have hit that up 17-13, have a chance to really control the game and put the Raiders in a tough spot.
Okay, so Derek Carr, he's going to take it, and he's going to look for his guy, Hunter Renfrow.
John Madden be happy about the Raiders' performance today. It was gritty. Carr had 2 interceptions, let the Colts hang around, but made some big plays and big moments. And right here, it was close, but Renfrow was down.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he's touched. It looked like he took it all the way, but he was. So that means that the Raiders get the ball back, and they get the scoring field goal that's going to win the game. Huge win. The Raiders win it 23-20, and that means they clinch a playoff berth with the win against the Chargers next Sunday. The Dolphins at the Titans. Ryan Tannehill making his first start against his former team.
Running the football, Deontay Foreman up the middle. They're efficient on the offensive side of the ball. It's one of the best offensive lines in the game, the Tennessee Titans.
Foreman, 132 rushing yards. That's a career high. And then the Dolphins down 14. Tua Tagovailoa looking for Devontae Parker. It's incomplete. No touchdown passes, 1 interception for Tua. Upsetting day. Remember, the Dolphins had won 7 straight, but the Titans win it 34-3. And that's a huge win for the Titans, who have had to deal with so much adversity winning the AFC South.
Yeah, they have, but they're a really good football team. And don't be shocked if we're sitting here AFC Championship Sunday and watching the Tennessee Titans. #1 team, they're big up front on both sides of the ball. There's no team that's really a mismatch for the Tennessee Titans because of their size up front. And then, of course, Meg Vrabel, they're very well coached on both sides of the football.
Yeah, and they've had to play 88 different players throughout this stretch as they've dealt with adversity. But, Coach and Drew, it's been impressive for the Titans.
Yeah, it's been impressive for the Titans. It's also been really impressive for the Raiders. I mean, would we have thought with everything that they've gone through this season, all the adversity, losing their head coach early, losing some key players along the way, that they've now won 3 in a row. And guess what? Next week, they play AFC West matchup, Chargers-Raiders. Winner gets into the playoffs. It's amazing that they've gotten themselves to that point. Kudos to that football team right now.
And it was disappointing for the Colts today. You know, Carson Wentz wasn't able to practice all week, so other guys were going to have to pick up the slack. And I thought the Raiders played with more energy early in that game especially. But to find out what all this means in the AFC, let's go to Steve Kornacki and sort it all out.
Yeah, well, Coach, the bad news for your former team there is they were jumped by the Patriots, who clinch a playoff berth. Now the Colts are part of that scramble for the final 2 wild card spots in the AFC. The good news for the Colts, though, is who do they play next week? They close out with Jacksonville. All the Colts have to do is beat the Jaguars, and they will lock down one of those final 2 spots. And if the Colts beat the Jaguars next week, it'll also eliminate Pittsburgh and Baltimore. The only chance Pittsburgh and Baltimore have of making the playoffs requires the Jags to win. So if Indianapolis wins next week, it will, as Drew just said, come down to the Chargers and the Raiders. Winner gets in, loser stays home.
All right, thank you so much, Steve. Those numbers courtesy of Pro Football Focus. Look, a Vikings fan has hope. So does Mike Florio. We'll see if he actually takes them at the end of the show.
Welcome to the Hyundai Sunday Night Kickoff.
We are wrapping up Week 17 at Lambeau, where the Green Bay Packers can clinch a #1 seed with a win tonight against the visiting Minnesota Vikings. So now let's go on the field, presented by Hyundai. And, Coach, let's start with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, he's playing outstanding football, but what he's got to do tonight is keep his eyes open for that Minnesota blitz. They're going to come after him, try to create some confusion.
Yeah, and head coach Matt LaFleur with the win tonight. He'll have more wins than any head coach in history in his first 3 years. He's given this team so much confidence with his scheme, with his style of coaching, the way that he's empowered so many of these key players on the team, and they're ready to make a run.
Yeah, ready to make a run, ready to get a win, ready to clinch this #1 seed. But first, let's see what we've already watched this Sunday. Dak Prescott paying tribute to John Madden before the game, getting set to take on Kyler Murray and the Cardinals that come in off of 3 straight losses to the second quarter. The Cards are up 3. And check this out. They run a fake punt.
Yeah, struggling on offense, so Cliff Kingsbury dials up some things to get that offense going. Fake punt here. He also took some chances on 4th down.
Look at this unbelievable catch, though. Using the helmet there, Jonathan Ward. Unbelievable. Same drive, 4th and goal. Let's go for it. Kyler Murray will take it. 1-yard touchdown to Antoine West.
Love the play. Gave Kyler Murray a lot of options on that play.
So the Cardinals lead at 10-0, and then Arizona dominated the first 3 quarters. Dallas starting to come back here. Prescott looking for Amari Cooper.
2 scores down, need to score quick. Prescott gets it to Cooper, gives him a chance.
Yeah, the Cowboys go for 2. They get it, cut the lead to 3 points. Just over 2 to play. The Cards trying to put the game away. Murray will run for it, 9 yards, and the first down.
He's undefeated in AT&T Stadium, high school, college, and the NFL. I don't think you want to see him back there, Cowboys.
That would be 9-0 in Jerry World. He'll take the victory. All right, the Rams on the road taking on the Ravens. No Lamar Jackson, so that means Tyler Huntley is going to be the starting quarterback for the Ravens. Matthew Stafford struggled in the first half. Chuck Clark with the pick 6.
The Baltimore defense came up with some confusing things, actually got after Stafford in the Rams offense.
Yeah, but this proved costly, Coach. Tyler Huntley looking deep and it's intercepted.
Minute and a half left. They have been controlling things, but now they give the Rams a chance to score before the half.
Yeah, here's where they take advantage. Stafford, his favorite target, that would be Cooper Kupp for the 18-yard touchdown. Kupp had 6 receptions, 95 yards and a TD.
And that really flipped the momentum.
4th quarter, just over a minute left. So you're going to see the Rams driving down 5, 4th down. Stafford looking for ODB.
Great play there, getting it to Beckham to get the first down, keep the drive going.
OBJ again for the touchdown.
Great hands, snatch catch, and then extend it over the pylon.
So the Rams win it by 1 for their 5th straight victory, 20-19. Yeah, you got to enjoy that one. Meanwhile, Baltimore, it's their 5th straight loss. Matthew Stafford, though, that was really a tale of two halves. We will get to that. The Kansas City Chiefs taking on Cincinnati. Joe Burrow and the Bengals, they don't ever look scared, do they? Because Jamar Chase is on their sideline.
He had a fantastic day today. All kinds of coverages he beat. This was a blown coverage, but even when he was covered, he handled it.
69 yards for that touchdown. He had 11 receptions, franchise record, 266 yards. Burrow finding Boyd here for the 5-yard touchdown. The weapons are everywhere.
They really are, and it was just back and forth in the second half.
Okay, game tied at 31. Bengals facing 3rd and 27. Who else, Coach?
I really didn't understand this. 3rd and 27, man-to-man coverage, no help. Chase had been doing it all day. Give your corner some help in that situation.
I'm with you, Coach.
He hauled it in there. Joe Mixon, okay, so he's going to get stopped on 4th and goal, but guess what? Flags will be thrown. There's not enough drama in this final drive, I don't think. Offsetting penalties mean we will replay the 4th down, okay? So Zach Taylor's going to decide to go for it again, okay? But this time, he's going to go with Joe Burrow and a pass to Boyd. Let's see if he can make the play complete. No, Coach. Incomplete, but there's another flag.
Another penalty, and this was the Chiefs' defensive backs all day. When they were locked up in man coverage, we got penalties and completions. Had a tough time handling those guys. Joe Burrow hurt there.
Yeah, limping off the field, and that means that we're going to see Evan McPherson come on. He is good from 20 yards. The Bengals get the win, and yeah, the AFC North is there for the first time in 2015. Joe Burrow, you got to be pretty excited.
I said it in the preseason. You know, we were talking about the playoffs, and I said, you know, we're gonna goal is the playoffs, and the easiest way to do that is to win the division. And you know, everyone kind of laughed at us a little bit, but you know, we knew the kind of team we had, the kind of guys in the locker room that we had, and we knew we could go out and do it.
And that locker room celebration was pretty impressive. They clinched the AFC North for the first time since 2015. And you enjoy watching this team. You said one of their most exciting teams in the NFL right now.
Without question. I mean, they're so explosive. They've got weapons all over the place. I don't know how you cover this group of receivers. And they can run the ball with Joe Mixon. My only question mark about the Cincinnati Bengals is their defense. They've lacked consistency at times. They've really relied on their offense to get up by a lot of points so they can rush the passer and force turnovers. But can they do that on a consistent basis in the playoffs?
But, Drew, you've watched them. You love it. Did the Kansas City defense watch them? Why were they lining up play after play after play with man coverage, no help, bump and run on those wide guys? It didn't make sense.
Well, 5 plays of 30-plus yards today, Coach. I'm sure that had you just scratching your head, especially the ones that continue to go to Jamar Chase. But we all saw Joe Burrow limping a bit late in their win. Mike Florio, what's the latest on the QB?
Well, what happened was he twisted his right knee. That's not the same knee as the one that was seriously injured a year ago. He said after the game that the knee is good enough. He could have played if he had to, and that he actually first injured it 4 weeks ago against the Chargers. And not that this counts as medical evidence, but he was dancing in the locker room after the game to celebrate the AFC North Championship.
Yes, he was dancing and also smoking a cigar with this guy, Jamar Chase. The Bengals clinched the AFC North for the first time since 2015. Remember, at LSU, they were first rounders. They were both big parts of their turnaround success at LSU, and now it's happening with the Bengals. But now it's time for the Sunday Night Game Flow presented by Progressive. Chris Sims.
Well, you guys talked about it. I mean, Jamar Chase was phenomenal. The Kansas City Chiefs defense had no answers for him all game long, and they tried everything. Chase is a phenomenal individual talent. You know, great ball skills down the field, and then what he can do after the catch. Here, just smart, kind of settling down in the zone, but then it's go gadget legs, and you can see he can run by everybody. One-on-one, he's as tough a matchup as there is in football. Yes, his speed and the ability to adjust to the ball in the air. And then you heard Coach break this down. 3rd and 27, why play this defense? I don't know. The guy's been burning you all game long. What said that you might stop him there? Chase was on fire today.
All right, that was the Sunday Night Game Flow presented by Progressive. Good work, Chris. Meanwhile, Aaron Rodgers trying to put in some good work here tonight. He has thrown 13 touchdowns, 0 turnovers during the Packers' 4-game win streak. We'll see what he has for us tonight.
Last game, they had a baby bucket. You got a family bucket? Yep, got a baby bucket. He doesn't have anything here at all. You can have a barbecue on that head. You put your arm up your leg like this. Hucklebuck.
That's the way
Hey,
you do it when you do the hucklebuck.
Just a stiff arm.
Hey, a little hucklebuck.
Let her rip.
Like I was saying. And another thing. Oh, there's a picture one. Yeah. And I think Thanksgiving is a great example of that. There is a turkey. You see, you cut it like right down here. Then you cut it this way. I mean, here's a leg, then we got 3 here, we got 3 here. See, and then this is what it looks like inside.
Coach, I've actually never seen a better use of a telestrator than John Madden.
Classic, no doubt.
We should all be getting lessons from that. That was the best of telestration from John Madden. Let's get to the best of Week 17. And guys, let's start in the AFC, Coach. Denver on the road taking on the Chargers, and the Chargers picked up a big win.
Yes, got their big play offense going, set up a big matchup next week with the Raiders.
Yes, Chargers can clinch a playoff spot with a win in Vegas next week. Josh Allen, though, getting it done with his legs today, Drew.
Yeah, he was. Just the type of conditions you would expect in December in Buffalo. He threw 3 picks today, but ran the ball extremely well.
All right, Bills can clinch the AFC East with a win next week against the Jets. It was a get-right game for the Patriots.
Yeah, and they needed this. They had struggled the last couple of weeks, but 50 points on the Jaguars.
Pretty impressive. Mac Jones, 3 touchdown passes. Vegas hanging on to get the win. Raiders on top.
In honor of John Madden, gutsy win by the Raiders.
Both the Raiders and the Colts can clinch a playoff spot with a win next week. And Miami taking on Tennessee. Ryan Tannehill walking away with the win.
Yeah, they got their ground game going, set up these play-action passes.
Yeah, they were able to roll there against Miami. That ended their 7-game win streak. Kansas City, Cincinnati, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, just putting on a show.
I'll say it again, Coach. 3rd and 27. What are you doing?
I don't know.
Especially don't let that guy catch it.
Okay, then the Bengals going for it on 4th and goal in the final minute. How about the penalty call?
Yeah, this was back and forth. We were even questioning why they were going for it again, but they finally get the first down. They can run the clock down and kick the game-winning field goal.
Yep, Evan McPherson stepping up from 20 yards for the win. The Bengals win the AFC North for the first time since 2015. So, take a look at the AFC playoff picture. 5 of the 7 spots have been clinched, and Coach, Tennessee took control of the race for the 1 seed today.
Yeah, huge for them. Beat Houston next week, and you can get a bye and rest up and possibly get Derrick Henry back.
Yeah, the Colts could clinch by beating the Jags next week, and if that happens, the winner of Chargers Raiders gets the last spot. To the NFC. All right, a little bit of an odd scene in MetLife Stadium. Antonio Brown was visibly upset. He left the stadium in the 3rd quarter, throwing his jersey and his gloves out into the stands. Bruce Arians later said he's no longer a Buck, but on the field, the Bucks get the win.
In spite of all the drama, they've got Tom Brady, and that was good enough this afternoon.
Yeah, and it was a 14-point deficit in the Meadowlands they had to overcome. Philly, they get the win against Washington.
Yeah, you thought you were going to get some Taylor Heineke magic again in the 4th quarter, but once again, the Philadelphia Eagles come up with a big play to win the game.
Yep, still in the race for a playoff spot. Carolina taking on New Orleans. New Orleans staying in the race, too.
Keep their hopes alive with Alvin Kamara and the defense.
Yeah, they need another win and to get a little bit of help to make the playoffs. Houston, San Francisco, it's the rookie Trey Lance that got the start for the first time since Week 5.
Yeah, he started off slow, but then really settled into the game plan. A lot of plays on the move, making throws like this down the field to Deebo Samuel, also standing in the pocket, making some big 3rd down conversions.
And the Rams taking on the Ravens. The Rams, they're rolling winners of 5 straight.
Yeah, after first half struggles, Stafford to Odell Beckham for the game winner.
Yeah, the Rams can clinch the NFC West with a win over the Niners next week. And then it was Arizona taking on Dallas in the house that Kyler built.
That's right. We didn't know where Arizona went for 3 weeks, but they were back in action today. Kyler Murray, a lot of great throws and sealed the deal in the 4th quarter with a couple nice runs.
Never lost in Jerry World. Okay, the NFC playoff picture, 5 spots have been clinched. The Packers can clinch the #1 seed with a win tonight. The Vikings are out with a loss. The Eagles clinch with the Vikings loss, and the 49ers can clinch with a win next week. Okay, that is the big picture, Coach. What is your biggest takeaway in Week 17?
Well, Tampa Bay, a lot of drama and a lot of injuries, but they still have Tom Brady and dynamic offense. Watch out for them.
Yeah, interested to see what happens with San Francisco and the Rams in their game next week. Rams were able to jump up to the 2 seed, but in order to win that division, they need to beat San Francisco. And by the way, they have lost to San Francisco the last 5 in a row. So let's see if they can get that win.
All right, Kyle Shanahan has a little bit of an edge over Sean McVay.
Right
yeah,
now.
just a little bit.
Right.
All right, it's time now for the home team picks brought to you by Lowe's. And to start us off, we go to Jack Collinsworth.
All right, Maria, 79% of the country is on the Packers. Minnesota took out Green Bay in Week 11, but the Vikings have less firepower for this rematch. Got a first-round bye, defending his MVP crown. That's peak motivation for Aaron Rodgers. And when it's this cold, you know A-Rod's bringing the heat. I love the Packers, and I love your hat, Rod. Who you taking?
You confused me with that. But anyway, the Packers veteran players, they understand the importance of having that #1 seed and getting Aaron Rodgers rest for that big toe. Packers by 2 touchdowns tonight.
There you go. Mike Florio, who you taking?
Hey, well, you know, if Sean Mannion can pull this off in place of Kirk Cousins, it will be magical, it will be memorable, it will be monumental. And it's not going to happen, Packers.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. Green Bay's defense hasn't been great, but yes, Sean Mannion and the Vikings are not going to beat Aaron Rodgers at home. I'm going Packers.
All right, I'm going with the Packers as well, guys. Coach, which way?
Packers all the way. I'm trying to figure out who those 21% of the people were that voted.
I'm just saying, below freezing wind chill in Green Bay.
Aaron Rodgers
to get the 1 seed. Green Bay!
Okay, this is a meme if we get them all wrong. Those were tonight's home team picks brought to you by Lowe's. We've got the kickoff coming up in Green Bay. The Packers looking to clinch the #1 seed in the NFC. The Vikings hoping to pull off the upset and keep their playoff hopes alive. Mike, Chris, and Catherine Tappan have the call after Carrie Underwood gets us started. We'll see you at half.
This has been the Hyundai Sunday Night Kickoff. Sunday Night Anthem, delivered by Uber Eats.
Waiting all day for Sunday night. All night, what a night, finally here. Sunday football's kicking into high gear. The stars have arrived, come on, get up cheer. Hey, Jack, get a back, shows back in town. Vikings and the Pack, the division's down. The stadium's rocking, time to crank up sound. The NFL's best have come to play. Coast to coast, just one thing left to say. I've been waiting all day for Sunday night. The tough and rough and a primetime fight. More than a game, it's everything's right. So I've been waiting all day for Sunday
First Sunday of 2022 at 1265 Lombardi Avenue, Green Bay, Wisconsin. Historic Lambeau Field set for the coldest game of this NFL season. The temperature's 11. It feels like 1 for this NFC North matchup as the reigning MVP Aaron Rodgers and the North champion Packers face Dalvin Cook and the Minnesota Vikings on NBC's Sunday Night Football. Good evening, Mike Tirico, Chris Collinsworth, and Catherine Tappan. Al Michaels, Michelle Tafoya with you to wrap up the NFL season next weekend. The Packers can wrap up the #1 seed tonight with Dallas's loss an hour ago. It's very simple. Packers win tonight or next Sunday in Detroit, and the road to the Super Bowl in the NFC comes through Lambeau for the 2nd consecutive year. Green Bay's won 4 in a row since losing to Minnesota Week 11. The Vikings have played a record number of one-score games, but haven't won enough of them. They must win tonight to stay alive. And in the bad timing department, their quarterback Kirk Cousins tested positive for COVID-19 on Friday. He is out tonight. So, Chris, that means Sean Mannion is here. He started 3 games, including tonight. The first 2 didn't matter. Tonight's matters. What should we see?
Last time I saw him throw a pass, it was a 75-yard Hail Mary. He's 6'6". He has a 90-mile-an-hour fastball. But tonight, the story is going to be all about Dalvin Cook. His last trip in here to Lambeau, he had 226 yards of total offense. He has to dominate tonight.
Because on the other side, it's Aaron Rodgers. Everything with Aaron is a big headline, even his broken little toe. But since that injury, he's played great. Chris, a good performance tonight. He can lock up his 4th NFL MVP.
Yeah, I agree. And especially when you consider that this offensive line's been a bit of a mess all season long. 4 missing starters out here tonight. But there is another superstar to talk about, Davante Adams. And this week, Aaron Rodgers said that Davante was the best player that he has ever played with That is some statement by Rodgers.
Speaking of the best, John Madden, it's been a wonderful day of remembrance of the great legacy of Madden all across the NFL, and that continues tonight at his favorite place, Lambeau Field.
Ladies and gentlemen, earlier this week, the NFL family lost a Hall of Fame coach, broadcaster, and friend with the passing of John Madden. At this time, please stand and join in a moment of silent reflection in memory of John Madden, who had an indelible impact on football, the NFL, and generations of fans. Thank you.
NBC Sports, home of Super Bowl 56, welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
You've probably heard a lot this week about how John Madden changed football on television. Well, take it from us. It's all true. John pioneered all kinds of innovations when it came to televising the game. But not just the things that showed up on screen. John had his crew study the same tape teams use to prepare for opponents. Initiated weekly meetings with players and coaches. Had us watch practice. Even made us practice. And remember, he wasn't just our coach. You can see his impact across every network, every Sunday. Look, we could talk about Coach forever. How much we loved him, how much we'll miss him. But we know what he'd be saying now. Enough of this. Can we just get to the football?
From the heart, and so perfect from Fred Gudeli-Juresikov. Perfect pair to be in the chair again tonight as we all honor John. All right, so how's this for getting to football, Coach? Sean Mannion, the Vikings quarterback tonight, is from the town that John lived in, Pleasanton, California, and his freshman high school coach was John's son, Mike. Catherine has more on Mannion.
Yeah, Mike, on Friday morning, Sean Mannion came off the COVID list, and shortly after arriving at the Vikings facility, he found out he'd be tonight's starting quarterback. Now, Mannion practiced with the starters, and then afterward, he went outside in single-digit temperatures to throw routes, determine what gear he would wear, and even simulate what 3-minute commercial breaks would feel like. The temperature right now is 11 degrees with the wind chill. It feels like 1 degree. This will be the coldest game that Sean Mannion has ever played in, not to mention the biggest, Mike.
Yeah, a lot on the line for sure. Vikings must win tonight and then win next Sunday and get some help. For Green Bay, it's all on the line. #1 seed with a win. The Vikings won the toss, deferred to the second half. The top touchback man in the league, Greg Joseph, set to kick it off. David Moore is back to receive. Former Seattle Seahawk, signed by the Packers this week. Amari Rodgers is on the COVID-19 list. A big one. Do you want to come through Lambeau for the playoffs? You might have to in the NFC if the Packers win tonight. And off we go from Green Bay. Moore will let it go. And Aaron Rodgers. The offense starts at 25. And here they are.
Aaron Rodgers, Butte Community College.
Aaron Jones, El Paso, Texas.
Devontae Adams, Fresno State.
Equinemius St. Brown, Notre Dame.
Alan Lazard, Iowa State.
Mercedes Lewis, UCLA.
Josh Nyman, Virginia Tech.
John Runyon, Michigan.
Lucas Patrick, Duke University.
Royce Newman, Ole Miss.
Dennis Kelly, Purdue.
Kelly starts for Billy Turner, missing his 3rd game with a knee injury. It's been changeable on the offensive line all year for Rodgers. From the 25, begins with Aaron Jones to the right. And a cutback by Jones will gain 2. The 27-yard line. Blake Lynch made the tackle. Well, we said it at the beginning, could be the back-to-back MVP. Here are the numbers to back it up. What a season. Only 4 interceptions in the first 15 games. And the top rating in the National Football League for passers, just under 111. Second and 8. Rodgers looking right. Devontae Adams opens his account for the night. First down out of bounds, the 46-yard line. 19 on the game.
Watch how long Devontae Adams waits to put his hands in the air. Why does he do that? He does that so that the defensive back has no idea when it's coming. Chris Boyd filling in on the outside, and you know that route right there and that combination has really become their signature between Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams.
It'll be Aaron Jones to the right, to the Vikings side of midfield, to the 47-yard line. Here is that Minnesota defense.
Sheldon Richardson, Mizzou.
Dalvin Tomlinson, Alabama.
Armand Watts, Arkansas.
DJ Wanham, South Carolina.
Anthony Barr, UCLA.
Eric Kendricks, UCLA.
Patrick Peterson, LSU.
Harrison Smith, Notre Dame.
Xavier Woods, Louisiana Tech. Cam Bynum, Cal. Chris Boyd, Texas, DBU.
Yeah, they just went after Boyd, who's in for Cameron Dantzler, who injured his calf in practice on Wednesday, inactive tonight. Rodgers underneath, incomplete. Try to get Jones coming across. Eric Kendricks patrolling the middle to make it third down, and Jones put the pieces back together after that hit.
Those are the kinds you don't like taking anytime, but early in the game, those low shots and the ball up around your head as you're trying to make it, those get inside your head, believe me. It's a rough way to start the game. Luckily for the Green Bay Packers, they have two superior running backs.
And that other one, A.J. Dillon, comes in. Rodgers empties the backfield, 3rd and 3. Vikings bring 4. Rodgers lofting towards Adams. Got it again. One more time with those late hands. Working on Mackenzie Alexander. First down, Green Bay. That was 30 yards.
Well, anytime you end up with Davante Adams inside in the slot, it is just even more difficult because he has all that room to the outside. But watch his hands here. He barely even moves them. See, I mean, there's no way as a defensive back, you're looking right at him, and there's no clue that the ball is coming. So you have to get your head back around to have any chance, or they're going to do it all night.
It's also good when the guy can drop it in there, too, huh? Wow. Just beats the clock inside the 20. That's a low one. Incomplete for Equanimous St. Brown. So it's Aaron Rodgers and it's Mike Zimmer. There's a great back and forth with these two guys. The Vikings head coach, of course, longtime defensive star in terms of play calling, and they love matching wits. There's a little bit about the sauce when these two guys get together.
Yeah, and Mike says every once in a while he'll look over at him and kind of point the finger like, okay, I got you. I see you over there. But he always, Zimmer always tries to have something a little different every game for Aaron Rodgers.
Another throw here, the middle to the end zone, incomplete. Zaya DeGuara couldn't bring it in as the tight end was working up the seam. It'll be 3rd down.
Cannot throw a ball better than this. I mean, sometimes they're going so hard, it's hard for your guys to catch it. But that was some play on the part of Aaron Rodgers there. He looked left. Patrick Peterson jumped around. He came back and should have had a touchdown pass. Big 3rd down here. They have to make this stop.
Tightens the protection. Extra man comes. Gets it out complete, but no gain as it's caught by Tyler Davis, the 4th tight end. So the Vikings defense comes up with answers in the red zone. The Packers will try a field goal.
Yeah, so we're going to end up with the out of the secondary with the blitz coming here. You just have to play add-on, and you're always going to see those 2 linebackers down in the gap. But once again, Zimmer, again, Mike, in divisional games, you know each other so well that sometimes you can gain a little advantage, and with Aaron Rodgers, you need all the advantage you can get.
Mason Crosby hasn't been his best season by a long stretch. From 35, ooh, the hole was not clean, but Bajorka has got it down in time, and Crosby puts the Packers on the board with an opening drive field goal. 3-0, and Sean Mannion's turn next. All the cold weather games here in Green Bay and over the years in the Twin Cities as well when Minnesota played outside in Bloomington. It's 2 degrees right now in Minneapolis. It's 11 degrees here at Lambeau. It's probably a heck of a lot warmer inside U.S. Bank Stadium in Minnesota. Crosby, the veteran experience, helped him make that field goal.
Sure did.
With a 3-0 lead. Kone Wanwu has been sensational returning kickoffs. 2 for touchdown thus far this year. And most balls should be returnable tonight. There he is from the 5 with an alley inside the numbers to the 34-yard line. That's where the Vikings will take over. Let's go back to that main field goal.
Corey Bajorquez here is going to lay this ball on the ground, pick it up, spin it, lean it towards him. But the real key was Mason Crosby, a veteran kicker, knows how to slow the process. Just take your time. You got to believe. Sometimes you just got to believe he's going to get that thing on the ground. And finally they did and executed barely.
Sean Mannion from the 34. Play action, and he throws complete for the first down. Tyler Conklin, the tight end. Was he touched? They say no. So Conklin gets up, keeps going to the Packers 43. So a good start for Mannion.
I think my first question for Mike Zimmer is, could Mannion bootleg to his left? Because this is such a signature part of this offense. And he's going to answer my question on the very first throw. Well done. Preston Smith, not used to being out there in space, does not get a hand down on Conklin, and it costs him another 10 yards.
Yeah, they're going to challenge that. The question is, did he get a hand on the towel? You had the white pants, the white towel, the white glove. And it looks like we'll get an immediate challenge from Matt LaFleur. Let's see, not there, not there. Right there, he got his back. So that'll bring it back.
Green Bay is challenging the ruling on the field of the previous play that the runner was down by contact. That play is under review.
At the moment, it's a 23-yard gain. It will be less than that after this review.
After review, the defender did have his hand on the back when the runner went down. Therefore, the runner is down by contact at the 45.5-yard line. The play still results in a first down. This is a successful challenge for Green Bay. Please set the game clock to 11:37. 11:37, please.
All right, so Clay Martin cleaning that up. It'll move it back 11 yards, but still the first down for Mannion. Just past the 45, and it's Dalvin Cook as he runs to the right. 4 yards to the 49, and here is that Minnesota offense.
Sean Mannion, Oregon State.
Dalvin Cook, Miami Central High School.
C.J. Ham, Augustana.
Justin Jefferson, LSU.
K.J. Osborne, DU.
Tyler Conklin, Central Michigan.
Kristen Darisaw, Virginia Tech.
Ezra Cleveland, Boise State.
Garrett Bradbury, NC State.
Olisa Mecca Udo, Elon.
Brian O'Neill, Pitt.
Biggest name missing, Adam Thielen, two-time Pro Bowler, season-ending surgery on that ankle that he hurt 3 weeks ago. Cook bouncing to the outside. It'll be 3rd and short coming up as Dalvin heads out of bounds.
One of the things about playing this Packers defense is they will play these ends very wide. And, of course, the Vikings, they want to push it to the outside. They want to get all the way outside. That time, Preston Smith unable to contain the edge, and that's going to be a big part of this thing.
It's a struggle for them against Cleveland. Last game the Packers played here on Christmas Day. Holding off the Browns by 2. On 3rd down, Mannion out of the pocket, lofts it wide open again. It's Conklin. Another first down to the 24-yard line. So there's your question answered twice as Mannion gets out of the pocket and has the Vikings on the move.
Yeah, just a complete drop in coverage. He's going to go across the formation here and don't know exactly what happened. They had man coverage with the corner on the outside, and there just was nobody left on the other side of the field. But
yeah, now they're walking back here. Let's listen.
Ineligible player downfield. Offense, number 71. 5-yard penalty at the previous spot. Will replay. 3rd down.
That's the rookie left tackle, Christian Darisaw. Didn't see an immediate flag thrown on that play.
Mike, what happened was he was there and he was expecting it, and hustle actually cost him the penalty. He's going to have a good block in here, and then he's going to take off late thinking the ball was already thrown, but it was still in the hands of Mannion at the time that he made that throw. So Actually, in that case, the hustle of the rookie cost him a penalty.
And negates a 24-yard gain. So now the Vikings and Mannion have 3rd and 9. Clean pocket, Mannion throws, and is caught, fighting for the first down, and forward progress called on Conklin, a couple yards shy of that first down. It'll bring up 4th down. It'll be an immediate decision. Kevin King was there in coverage.
Yeah, and as a defensive coordinator by trade, you know that Mike Zimmer has probably his whole life been punt the ball offense, punt the ball in this situation, and yet as a head coach, you have to consider who's on the other side of the field, and I think he is considering that strongly, and there's LaFleur going to pump up the crowd a bit.
He's first-team all-cheerleader when it comes to head coaches. He's always doing that on the sideline here when he senses the crowd can give him more. Now play stopped for a second here by the officials as they're getting the ball marked in the proper spot. See what we're getting here. Timeout. Okay, let's see if...
Looked like one of the officials were sort of bent over out there. I don't know exactly what happened.
So stopping the game is Clay Martin, the referee. And we saw this in the Seattle game earlier this afternoon as well, where at least temporarily had to work with one fewer officials. And they are looking at the umpire, Fred Bryan. And we'll watch Fred when he bends over here as he stopped the clock there. He was in pain, feeling discomfort, and stopped it. And Clay Martin recognized it right away. So the athletic training staff from the home team usually looks after the officials if they are in any discomfort, and the Packers group over there to check out Fred Bryan, the umpire, and he will go into the blue tent to be examined.
Sometimes we all forget that there are actually 3 teams out there on the field, and certainly the well-being of those officials every bit as important as that of the players.
And this is something they review and go through on a regular basis when they do have to work with one fewer official in terms of coverage of eligible receivers, positioning on the field and such. So you see the numbers here on 4th and 3 and the chances of converting for the Vikings.
Number 64 is an eligible receiver. 64 is eligible.
And Blake Brandel has been in this situation a lot as the extra offensive lineman brought in. So 4th and 3. Fullback C.J. Ham in there for Minnesota. Mannion on the run. He throws sideline incomplete. Preston Smith was out there covering the fullback Ham. And on downs, Minnesota will turn it over to Green Bay right around the 45. Tank throw on the sideline. Ham couldn't bring it in. Smith was there to make sure he could. No franchise has history like the Green Bay Packers. The all-time touchdown pass record goes back over a century, back to Curly Lambeau, who first had it. This is the progression through the Packers' best passers. Tobin wrote in the 50s and 60s, and Bart Starr held it for almost a third of a century, and then Brett Favre for nearly a quarter century, and the mantle passed on Christmas Day of 2021 to Aaron Rodgers as he threw the record-setting touchdown, and then got the greeting on the big screen from Brett Favre as well.
Can you really, though, think about Brett Favre and not think about John Madden just a little bit? I mean, they were kind of the same guy in some way. they knew how to have fun.
And the stories, too. Just when you heard Madden say Brett Favre's name, it just sounded right. It sounded different, right?
Sometimes you watch the opening on camera and he'd say it 6 times in like, the paragraph that we get, you know.
And then give me the 7th. Come on, one more time, right? It was great. So Aaron will take over for the Packers at the 47-yard line. The Vikings are held on that fourth down. A.J. Dillon, the powerful running back out of Boston College, takes it for a gain of a half dozen.
Mike, we're getting a little bit of a three safety look now out of the Minnesota Vikings, and Harrison Smith down around the line of scrimmage, and he's going to come off the edge here. But remember, A.J. Dillon is 250 pounds a man, and just because you're there doesn't mean you're going to make the tackle. And Harrison Smith is one of the absolute best tackling safeties. He could only get an arm on him.
Second and 4, right back to Dillon to the left. Will be stopped, no gain, third down, or gain two, I should say, third down. Terry McCauley, let me bring you in as we saw Fred Bryan, the umpire, leave. You noticed something on that play at the end of the series.
I did, Mike. This crew, every crew gets to kind of adjust according to their personnel. What this crew's doing with 6, they've completely removed the umpire, which is going to make it extremely difficult. You have the referee now working all 10 linemen basically, plus the quarterback by himself. So this makes this a very difficult inside game to work with just one person.
Clay Martin will be doing that, and Fred Bryan, the umpire, while we were away and break, walked back up to the Packers locker room. Third and 2, and on the inside give, it is Jones bouncing to the outside. Aaron Jones on the run into the secondary inside the 20-yard line. Big run for Jones and a Packer first down.
And this is what makes the running game so tough. You've been getting pounded inside. Now you switch backs. And here comes Aaron Jones in there, and he has that speed, that little bounce-out capability. So you've got a 250-pound guys pounding you right up the middle, and then you come back with Jones, and you have to deal with that sort of bounce-out.
27 on that gain for Jones. From the 18-yard line. Little pop. And on the edge, Jones gets about 2 yards. As Anthony Barr and Patrick Peterson, 2 veteran defenders on this Minnesota defense, make the stop. A Vikings defense that needs to play better, especially in this must-win game for Minnesota.
Yeah, and it's going to be tough because there are 2 edge rushers on the outside that have been so good for so long. Everson Griffin, Daniil Hunter, they're not there. And then they came up with Michael Pierce coming back and being healthy, and he was dominant inside. He got an illness, and he's not here. So a lot of missing pieces up front for this Minnesota Vikings D-line.
Second and 6, Jones working that inside. He'll get to the 11-yard line. A gain of 5 yards. And Hunter and Griffin, and the Packer fans know this. They've seen this in these matchups when they have been in the lineup. The impact they have and the impact they've had this season in the first half of the season.
Yeah, and really 2 years in a row now for Daniil Hunter, who's probably their best. DJ Wanham's come in and done a nice job. He has 6 sacks. But it is very difficult for Mike Zimmer to run some of the looks that he likes without some of the big weapons. And I think inside that Michael Pierce loss, as big as those 2 edge guys.
Third and 3. To the right, brought in by Jones, but he couldn't get his balance. Kendricks got a hand on him, and the Vikings once again will stop the Packers for the moment. 4th down. Let's see what LaFleur's going to do here. Going to go for it.
Yeah, I think DJ Wanham made Aaron throw it around him a bit, but that was some catch on the outside by Jones. But here we go. It's game on already. They're out there playing for their lives and for their #1 seed, and everybody's going for it.
And LaFleur pumping him up before, quieting him down now. They need 3.
Be careful the hard count here.
Off in time. Rodgers drifts, floats, end zone, incomplete. Tried to get it to Adams. Mackenzie Alexander there on the coverage. And the Vikings thwart the Packers for the 2nd time. Field goal on the first drive. Nothing on this one. Alexander wins the battle. 3-0 Green Bay. seasons and 4 Emmy wins, TV's #1 drama returns for one final chapter. This Is Us. Can't wait till it returns. It premieres Tuesday here on NBC. The Fox River, it's not frozen like it was for the Ice Bowl, but it is cold here, to say the least. We started at 11, the temperature dipping around 10 degrees right now as the Packers and the Vikings meet. Mishandle there with Mannion and Jefferson, and because it was a pop pass, it is an incomplete pass.
Ruling on the field is an incomplete pass, 2nd down.
The beauty of that play. So let's tell you a little bit about Sean Mannion, who gets this start because Kirk Cousins is on the COVID-19 list. 29 years old. The Rams, when they were in St. Louis in 2015, drafted him in the 3rd round. He was with the Rams when they moved to LA, had a start a Week 17 meaningless game there, then has come over and been the Vikings backup the last couple of years. Had his other start Week 17 in 2019 against the Bears. No playoff implications in that game. He lost that one too. This is his first start in a meaningful game. Carry for Cook goes nowhere, and they're backed up with 3rd and 10.
One of the big guys in this game, Mike, is going to be Kenny Clark. There's no question about that. Right there he is. And you've got to double team him. But Garrett Bradbury, their outstanding center, very quick, very athletic, but he has a bit of a history of struggling against big nose tackles. And with the way they love to play those ends out wide, a lot of space to cover inside for Kenny Clark. So he needs to have a good game.
Different center, but Clark was unstoppable that first game these teams played in Week 11. 3rd and 10. Mannion throws underneath. It is caught by Justin Jefferson. And the Packers rally to the star receiver from the Vikings. It will be about 3 yards shy of the first down. It'll be a quick 3 and out for Minnesota.
They're just going to try and clear some space inside so Jefferson can get this slant and hopefully a catch and run. We've seen him be so dynamic, but they just fall off on the outside. Good play by Devondre Campbell, understanding who they were going to try to get the ball to on that one. It was Jefferson, and Campbell was right there.
Jordan Berry will punt it for the Vikings. They had a punt return against them last week by the Rams. David Moore just signed this week is the punt returner. Trying to run up to get it, and that's interference with the man trying to catch the kick, so they'll add 15 yards onto that. And the Packers will have the ball on the Vikings side of midfield. Moore has return experience, 22 in his career with Seattle. Dan Chisena, the gunner, got in the way.
Yeah, Moore really made a very fast late move getting
There's no
out
foul
there.
On the play as the kicking team player was blocked into the receiver. Timeout.
Wow. So there is no flag, and Green Bay will take over right around their own 40. You decide, was he blocked in or not, as we go to break. So that Arizona 25-22 win over the Cowboys in Arlington changed the stakes here tonight for the Packers. Just win tonight and they clinched the #1 seed. For Minnesota, with what happened earlier today, they need to win to stay alive in the NFC wildcard chase. Minnesota must win both games tonight and against Chicago on Sunday and get some help to get into the playoffs. As we are down to the final 18 games of this season. First down run, Dillon to the right, gains about 3 yards. But Chris, when looking at the carries for Matt LaFleur's running backs, see Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon's carries are about even. There's an injury, there's a game missed here and there, but that'll keep him fresh as you get to the postseason.
Yeah, you just wonder now as the weather begins to dip here, right? And you have a 250-pound running back. Might we see a little bit more of A.J. Dillon on a night like this?
Both are in. For 2nd and 7. Dillon protects. Jones catches on the edge. Patrick Peterson the tackle, a gain of 5. It'll set up 3rd and a couple.
Well, and they're both good receivers. They really are. But if you're going to play this double-A blitz look, and remember, we have seen a lot of Aaron Rodgers play in the Minnesota Vikings, well, why not just throw it out wide? So those linebackers are in there, all the inside pursuit. So you put everything now on the pass rusher, DJ Wanham, to have to go out and cover somebody like Aaron Jones.
Officially 3rd and 1. Dillon on the give inside, and he will be stopped in there. James Lynch, the second-year man out of Baylor, who the Vikings took in the 4th round last year, beat his man and forces a punt by the Pack.
All right, Lynch right here is going to end up making this play, and this is just power football. These are big guys in there, and he's just going to hold his own. Basically, you saw the center, Lucas Patrick, come over on him and feel like more pressure was coming behind, so when he ducked off, that ended up making the play.
3 and out. Corey Bojorquez kicks for Green Bay. He was on the COVID-19 list, as many players were earlier this week, but cleared. Protocol change and is kicking for Green Bay tonight. D.D. Westbrook awaits. Bojorquez hit a bad one. Very bad one. Maybe less than 25 yards on this punt. And a cold weather game, field position always matters. To be at the 33. And here's the Green Bay defense.
Dean Lowry, Northwestern. Kenny Clark, UCLA.
Tyler Lancaster, Northwestern. Preston Smith, Stevenson High School.
Chris Barnes, UCLA.
Devondre Campbell, Minnesota.
Rashawn Gary, Michigan.
Rasul Douglas, Sussex Ave. Adrian Amos, Baltimore, Maryland. Darnell Savage Jr., Maryland. Eric Stokes Jr., Georgia.
This group was really good. First 10 games, 18 points a game they allowed, but the last 5 games, 29 points a game. So a little bit of a conversation this week here in Wisconsin about the Packers defense. That punt was officially 24 yards from the 31. Here is Dalvin Cook to the right, and he'll gain 5 on first down.
You know, Mike, the one thing I would say after watching the first quarter of this game is I think Sean Mannion's okay.
I agree.
Right? Let's free Sean Mannion. Let's give him a chance. What the heck? What do you have to lose? He's got a big arm. He's proven he can bootleg. He can make throws on the run. And, you know, you get a good first down run. Eventually, you got to take a shot. It was the big plays by the Vikings in that first game when they got the win against the Packers. It really was the difference.
Are you starting hashtags? Free Sean Mannion. Oh, man. I expect that from Jack, not from you. After 1 here in Green Bay. Packers 3, Vikings nothing. NBC Sunday Night Football continues after these messages. Coverage from Green Bay brought to you by Geico. Never been here, of course, bucket list, you got to get here, but that's the charm of this place. Out for a walk this morning, you're just walking through the neighborhoods, and then you come up on this cathedral of football. What a place. Temperatures down a degree from kickoff. It's 10. Feels like it's dipped below 0 as we start the second quarter. Must win for Minnesota. Green Bay win, and they're the 1 seed. 2nd and 5, Mannion setting up the screen. Cook with sidestep, but not much else. Only a yard. Eric Stokes in a good rookie season in the first-round corner out of Georgia.
We talk so much about Kenny Clark inside, and more often than not, he just does not stop, and he's smart. Despite the double team, he could see the screen, and he's able to wiggle off the hook, and just enough to slow down Cook so his partners could get there.
And it leaves Mannion with 3rd and 5. Justin Jefferson just 1 catch so far, 7 yards. Mannion protected. The underneath throw is caught by Cook, but no chance of getting away from Devondre Campbell, the leading tackler on this Packer team, who's had a standout season. It is a back-to-back 3 and out for Minnesota.
for the Green Bay Packers defensively, they do a great job of matching up in their zone. So they're not necessarily playing man coverage in there, but when you distribute your routes, those guys, instead of just sitting back in the zones, they jump those inside receivers. They had all 3 of the easy throws covered on that one.
Jordan Berry kicks again. David Moore awaits. Out of bounds right around the 20-yard line. Aaron Rodgers having a great season, so is Davante Adams, and Rodgers raised some eyebrows last week with a statement.
When you start stacking up the numbers for Davante, it's mind-blowing. You know, I really feel like he's the best player I played with. And I sat to him the other night, actually. I was just thinking about him and had a lot of gratitude for our friendship and the fact that I get to play with him for so many years now. And I just feel like I want to tell him that it's true.
It's a big statement. It's a better story, though. It happened 11 days ago. Davante was on his way to dinner with his wife. He got that out of the blue text from Aaron. And Aaron shared that with everybody after the game against Cleveland on Christmas Day. Rodgers takes over from his own 21. And he's got 5 in the pattern. Check it down to Aaron Jones, who'll get a first down to the 32-yard line. Gain of 11. I love that Davante shared that story when we talked to him this week.
Yeah, and for Davante, if you remember, he said, he told his wife they were driving down the road, he said, honey, you may have to drive. I'm getting ready to start crying here. Because you think about it, here's a guy that is 3-time MVP. He's won a Super Bowl. He's been with some unbelievable teammates. And he's saying that you are the best player that I've played with. And that's amazing. I'll read some of the numbers for this guy, and you'll understand what Aaron was talking about.
Run by Jones for 2 here to the 35. Before you read them, let me share them with everybody here. Just this year alone, most targeted by a bunch, most receptions by a bunch, most yards by a bunch. They know it's going to him, and he still delivers.
I mean, 5 Pro Bowls in a row, 68 touchdowns since the start of 16. That's 9 more than any other player, over 100 catches, 1,300 yards receiving, and 2 straight and 3 out of 4. I'm telling you, the list goes on and on and on. It reads like a Hall of Fame resume.
2nd and 8 again, 5 in the pattern for Rodgers. Can stay in there and reload. Complete to the 47-yard line. Alan Lazard, who caught the record-breaking 443rd touchdown from Rodgers on Christmas Day.
You know, Aaron Rodgers is missing some receivers out here as well. And watch Lazard reach out and make this catch in his hands. And for Aaron Rodgers, right off his back foot. But the trust that he's starting to develop with Lazard is helping him replace Randall Cobb. There's the little flick. Helping him replace Randall Cobb and Robert Tonyan, who have been 2 of his favorite targets.
48. Pitch it back, and Jones accelerates through the secondary. And another big run for Jones. Take him down to the 25-yard line. That is 28 yards on that carry by Aaron Jones.
Anytime you get Mercedes Lewis out in front of a play, you know you've got something special. Here he's able to get that hook block on the outside. They try to go wide, and what does Aaron Jones do? He just simply jumps up inside and breaks off a big one. So it's been a patient approach so far tonight for the Green Bay Packers and for Aaron Rodgers. They're starting to get it going now a little bit on the ground.
It's their 4th drive, 3rd one. They've moved it well. Rodgers pulls it down and throws it to Adams on the side. It's only a gain of 2 as Chris Boyd made the tackle. But Chris, that's a little bit of what the magic is with these 2 guys. They communicate on a different level.
It actually is. And anytime you see that linebacker not walk all the way out on Davante, then this is purely on Rodgers. He's just going to take it and throw the ball. You could basically see Aaron Jones just ducking. He thought he was going to get it, and then in the last second, he had to duck underneath.
A.J. Dillon now the back. Rodgers just pushes it forward. DeGuara catches in the traffic, and he'll get to the 18-yard line. They set up another 3rd down. So as I said, this is the 3rd time the Packers have been down in this neighborhood here. Only 3 points for LaFleur and company to show for it. 20 minutes into this one.
Yeah, one of those plays used to be for Robert Tunyon up front, but when you think about it, the starters that would have been out here tonight, Bakhtiari, Jenkins, Myers, Turner up front on the offensive line, Robert Tunyon, their tight end, Randall Cobb, his best friend and one of his favorite receivers. So when you talk about Aaron Rodgers being the MVP, MVPs are supposed to do something special. And in this case, he's been doing it with a lot of his top weapons and top offensive linemen out.
Late in the clock, got the play off to Adams on the slant, incomplete. Patrick Peterson on the coverage. No flag, 4th down. Field goal attempt coming.
Pretty good matchup between those two guys, isn't it? Patrick Peterson, one of the great pros. Pro Bowl his first 8 years. Here he is matched up against Adams. Now he's not following him all over the field. We thought that might happen. It has not. At that time, Patrick Peterson with a win. I'll tell you, so far, though, Mike Zimmer has to be thrilled.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I mean, this game, they're in this game. And you know the Vikings, everything's going to come down to the wire.
36-yard attempt. Let's watch the hold this time around. Much cleaner. Bojorquez gets it down, and Crosby has a 36-yarder to go with his 35-yarder. The only points statistically dominated by Green Bay, but only a 6-0 lead against Mannion in Minnesota.
Isn't this a great place? I mean, you come to Green Bay and you just look at these fans, and this has to be the only stadium in the NFL where people still sit on benches.
Yep.
You know, and there's something about that, you know, that's kind of football. It's outdoors. It's Green Bay, Lombardi Avenue. This always will be and always has been my favorite place to come for football.
So true for so many. And someone in town here who took out a billboard to honor John Madden. That tells you how the Green Bay folks felt about him. They felt that connection from John, like you share with everyone in Football Night in America. John was a true man of the people.
Oh, he loved it. He did not want to go to fancy places. He wanted to go hang out with the people who lived here.
Here's Catherine Tappan.
Well, it is a special place, guys, and these frigid temperatures, they present a challenge for the fans as well. 82-year-old B. Freilich has been to nearly every game at Lambeau since 1957, including the Ice Bowl. To beat the cold, she's wearing base layers and 4 pairs of pants. She doesn't go for hand warmers, saying, I can normally handle the cold. She told me that when everyone is filling the stands, the huddle of the crowd, it keeps you warm, and added, you can't see unless you stand, Mike.
One of those fans that Madden talked about, sitting on those benches, a real fancy. Look at the lower bowl of this place on a 10-degree night. Hard to find an open space. These fans are here and supporting their team. Mannion from the 25, in trouble. Rashawn Gary's got him, and Mannion is sacked. A loss of a dozen for Gary, who is on a roll.
What a fantastic season Rashawn Gary has had this year. He really has just stepped up, and he had to. That sack, 9.5 right now. You get him on a fullback, a back of any kind, it doesn't matter. But remember, Zadarius Smith was supposed to be the star pass rusher on this team. He's been out with a back injury, so it was left to Preston Smith and Rashawn Gary to get it done, and get it done they certainly have. Both of them with at least 8 sacks on the season.
Officially a loss of 10. Mannion throws in traffic for Conklin, but it's incomplete. Rasul Douglas all over that one. And it's 3rd and 20.
Rasul Douglas, you better watch out for him. He's staring right at you there, Sean Mannion. And when you set your feet and start that arm, he's going to go get it. 5 interceptions in 10 games. Has to be the best in-season pickup you can remember in a long time. It has just been unbelievable for Clint Kubiak. He just has to come up with some answers. They've been going backwards as much as they've been going forward.
3rd and 20, just going to try to run it and get out of dodge here. The run for Cook is 6, and it's 3 consecutive 3-and-outs for this Minnesota offense.
Yeah, you want to keep it simple. You want to keep your team in the game, and I'm sure Mike Zimmer's thinking, all right, this is good. It's only 6-0. My Defense has been playing fantastic once they get down inside the red zone. Haven't been able to score anything but field goals down there. 3 times inside the 20 and 6 points. I'll take that. But eventually, you got to score.
Because the other guy's going to get it at some point, right? Pressure on Barry. Gets away a beautiful kick here. 56 yards. Took David Moore to the 24. Moore in his first game as a Packer brings it back around 9 to the 33-yard line. The other thing John Madden loved here, cheese curds, the food that you only find at Lambeau Field. Boy, what Matt LaFleur has done, 3 NFC North titles, but how about dominance at home? 21-2 his record here at Lambeau, which ties the most home wins. He can eclipse that with a victory here tonight. And then overall, a win tonight, 39-9. It will pass George Seifert for the most wins by a coach in his first 3 seasons. Just an incredible start, and came into the situation where you weren't sure with Aaron Rodgers, the mix of a new offensive system and all of that. First time as a head coach. He's really made it a very good connection between the two.
Yeah, it's year 3 of this system, and the evolution is obvious. I mean, they are on the plans X, Y, and Z at this point because they can simply do so much now with Aaron.
Started from the 34, it's Dillon to the left, and he'll gain 5 to the 39. Catherine?
Well, Packers players describe Matt LaFleur as a player's coach. Aaron Jones told me that his head coach is able to relate to the team because he listens to his players, and he said he genuinely cares for us. When you have a coach that listens, you have to go out there and play for him. Lucas Patrick told me, I've never had a coach as one-on-one personable or as honest, good and bad, as him. And Rasul Douglas said he knows what his players need to be successful.
You can see it too with the players, with the staff. He divvies up responsibilities and he empowers his staff to do a lot of the work during the week as well. Really connected throughout this building here in Green Bay. Dillon again carries left, keeps it going. Those huge thighs, quads, setting up 3rd and short.
Yeah, and I think it's really a tale of 2 different seasons as far as I'm concerned. When LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers first got together, let's say there are a few disagreements out there, right? And then in year 3, you're going through the holdout as well. And you've got to deal with that within the relationship. And somehow I think they've come out of the back end of that pretty well.
3rd and 1, it's Adams. Rodgers pulled it, and Adams down the sideline for a first down. They'll mark him out of bounds at the 42-yard line. Gain of 14 and a first down for Green Bay.
Well, once again, they're going to step up inside, and so Aaron Rodgers is going to go to the outside. Remember Paul Hornung on the old Green Bay sweep? This is the new Green Bay sweep here, where these wide receivers coming right off the ball, and Lazard, who is a big guy. He really is, 6'5", 227. He's like having a fullback out in front of Devontae.
Packers controlling this game. 193 yards to 33 at this point here in the second. Rodgers looking for the middle, and he's got Lazard rewarded for doing the dirty work. Allen takes it to the 25 and a gain of 17. That last catch by Davante Adams takes him just close to 8,000, but significantly in the history of the Packers, past the legendary Don Hudson. Only Driver, Lofton, and Sterling Sharp more receiving yards, I should say, than Davante Adams.
But Don Hudson in his day,
right for that number,
you couldn't even make a comparison to anybody. He was so far above everybody.
5 minutes till halftime. One more time, it's Adams. He'll get right to that 8,000 receiving yard mark with a catch to the 20-yard line.
Yeah, and this is all just leverage plays here. As Davante Adams goes across, if he is on the outside edge of the person that has to defend him, you are going to see Aaron Rodgers throw him the ball. That is just a running play. That is simply a long handoff. You think of Bill Walsh, you think of Brett Favre back in the early days and how he would do that. But once you establish just a little leverage with Davante Adams, he's going to get the ball.
Second and 5. Rodgers comes back to the other side towards Lazard, who's got it. Down in bounds. Touchdown, Packers. The man who caught 443 catches career touchdown 446 thrown by Rodgers.
It's not bad to be a second option of Aaron Rodgers. He looks left. Devontae Adams on a double move against Patrick Peterson. Not there. What the heck? Lassard's pretty good. Let me just throw it up in the air. That's their backup cornerback over there, Chris Boyd. And I tell you, big, strong Alan Lassard has just earned the trust of Aaron Rodgers. He really has. I don't think that he was ever intended to be the kind of weapon that he has become.
Waiting for confirmation in replay. You see the catch there.
And that is
butt comes down.
Touchdown number 6 and a career high for Alan Lassard, and filling a big role out there with Randall Cobb out.
Mason Crosby's extra point makes it 13-0. So we get right around the 20-yard line after a couple of field goals and a stop. Let's take a shot at the end zone, and Rodgers and Lazard connect, and the Packers are up 13. That's a number 13. Getting closer. 1 month from tomorrow, the Winter Olympics, February 3rd on NBC and Peacock. Back to Beijing, hosted the 2008 games. Some of the venues will be used for the Winter Games coming up in a month. Team USA has been named. There is the Titletown District right around here. That is not an Olympic venue.
Yeah, that's a luge right there.
That slide is very inviting. Could not get you and Catherine to go join me on a ride over there.
Oh, get out of here. I would have gone. I would have definitely gone.
Now he says it, right? Touchback, Vikings to take over at the 25-yard line. Can they get the ball to Justin Jefferson? He has been sensational. First couple of years, closing in on 3,000 yards. The 28-58 is the most for anybody in league history through his first 2 seasons. 186 catches, chance to push Michael Thomas's number of 196 through 2 seasons. But tonight it has been quiet. There's no Kirk Cousins. There's no Adam Thielen to gain a little bit of attention away. And Jefferson has only 1 grab. Try to establish a running game here with Cook. 1 yard. Tackled by Chris Barnes of the Packers.
Yeah, now if you're Minnesota, you've got a real problem because you're trailing 13-0. You basically have 1 receiver out there now instead of 2 with Adam Thielen. And what are you going to do? I mean, first of all, they have really good corners on the outside with Eric Stokes and Rasul Douglas, but they're just playing this 2 safety look in behind all night long. So the big plays that you saw Jefferson make in the first game between these 2 aren't going to be here in this one.
Good. Nothing. Lost the yard. It'll be 3rd and 10. Rashawn Gary sacked earlier. Tackle here. Vikings have 1 first down in 5 drops.
Well, what makes a great player in my mind is not somebody who can just get sacks. It's somebody who can make plays like this. Let's take on the pulling guard and let's smash him in the backfield and come up and make the play on Cook and turn this thing into 3rd and 10.
Sean Mannion has thrown 8 passes, completed 5. Drop here, trying to get out of there, not going to do it. Preston Smith with the sack, and the Packers defense shutting them down.
The singular goal now playing against Sean Mannion was could they get him on the move, and they felt as soon as he began to take off, that was not his strength, and we are seeing that. Matt LaFleur had coached him in the past in Washington, and sometimes that gives you a real edge when you're putting together a game plan.
4 straight 3-and-outs. Jordan Berry's kick. They're caught at the 35-yard line by David Moore.
All right, let's take a look at the Walmart Plus 4K Sky Cam. Here we go inside the game. Some of the big doggies in there, and one of the biggest, Kenny Clark. He can destroy everything you do inside, especially when you're trying to run the football. They have had double teams on him all night long, and yet he's still been able to disrupt and make his plays because he never, ever, ever relents. Going to the Pro Bowl, his 2nd. Congratulations to him.
In a dominant effort right now, 17 plays for the Vikings, only 28 yards, and this Minnesota defense has to come up big here with 2:08 to go before halftime. Full bucket of timeouts for Rodgers as well. Dealing in the middle, Davante Adams on the run. Harrison Smith chases him down at the 46-yard line. 19 on that one as we hit the 2-minute warning. Even when the Vikings get a hand on it, still works out for Rodgers, Adams, and the pack.
Coming up on the Toyota Halftime, Maria, Tony, Drew, and playoff implications.
Cincinnati clinches the AFC North.
And Arizona gets back on track with a big win in Dallas.
Plus, Al Michaels with a tribute to John Madden. Mike, back to you.
All right, Maria, Drew, Tony, we look forward to that. That result in Texas, the win by the Cardinals, giving the Packers the chance to maintain this lead, close this out in the second half, and guarantee that they'll be the #1 seed for the second consecutive year. Of course, Tampa came in and won the NFC Championship game here last year. The win would also put the Eagles in the playoffs if the Packers keep the score on their side tonight. First and 10, Rodgers. Plenty of time. It out to Aaron Jones, slipped, finally stopped, but still a gain of 8 to the 37-yard line.
Boy, this is just rough watching the Minnesota Vikings pass rush, a team that used to be so good coming off the edge. And this offensive line, basically, we've seen Aaron Rodgers get rid of the football faster than maybe he ever has in his whole career because of some of the backup players up front. No need tonight, though.
Down, throws it out quickly. Marquez Valdez-Scantling back in the lineup with the catch. He's marked very close to the first down. And the clock is stopped here with a timeout. It'll be a Green Bay timeout. And we've got the ball at the 35, so it is a first down. So for the first time ever, it is an 18-week season, big season finale. ABC and ESPN will have 2 games on Saturday. Then Fox and CBS will have doubleheaders on both networks on Sunday, and we'll have Sunday Night Football to wrap it up with the schedule to be announced. Trying to get the most meaningful games in the windows where most of you can see them, so stay tuned, as they say. These things really took an interesting turn this afternoon with a lot of the results.
Did they ever? But the league really does a nice job with that because it's sort of like the NCAA basketball tournament. You know, it sort of builds as the night goes along. You just see how and why and when teams are going to be going into the playoffs.
And that'll build for the whole weekend, for Saturday on through Sunday. And you and Al and Michelle wrap it up with game 272 this year, the final game of the regular season. First and 10 for Rodgers. Sideline caught by Lazard, has the touchdown, the only touchdown of this game. Out of bounds at the 23-yard line with a $1:13 and 2 timeouts.
It's just so tough, isn't it? Because there's so many different ways to beat you defensively when you're talking about the Green Bay Packers. And then you start thinking about, well, what if they do get some of these people back? What are they going to be then with Bakhtiari possibly and their center Josh Myers coming back, and a few people on the defensive side as well still with the possibility of coming back? This team could end up being a lot better than even what they are right now.
Harrison Smith, the safety, heads back late. 2nd and 4. It's Adams with a catch on the sideline. These two are so connected right now to the 11-yard line, first down.
Chris Boyd on the outside, and good luck to you, because this one, instead of it coming in and Adams just delaying, putting his hands up, this one's back shoulder, true back shoulder. Just rotate the body, the catch radius. They have a lot of different ways to beat you. Davante Adams with that big vertical jump of his, so tough to cover. One of the best release moves in all of football. If you get him down the field, good luck.
And a 100-yard half for Adams. Rodgers has 200 yards tonight from the 11. Aaron dealing over the middle. Touchdown, Adams. They've done it again.
That is a tough place to be, sitting over on that bench, watching Aaron Rodgers work, and know that you just don't have the weapons to shut it down. And maybe nobody does. You know, maybe nobody does. He sees things on that defense. He just doesn't miss things. The perfect route, the perfect decision, as he always does.
17 points in 8 minutes and 6 seconds. 20-0 Green Bay.
You see the cover two. They're going to run somebody right through the middle, and then here comes Adams off the left side, right behind him. The minute that linebacker turns and runs out of there, Eric Kendricks, they know exactly what they're going to do. Little delay. There's Devontae. Bingo.
You know, Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp have put up some incredible numbers. Cooper Kupp a chance to win the Triple Crown, receptions, yards, and receiving touchdowns in the NFL this season. So nothing to take away from their season, but this Rodgers-Adams combination, they just have a nuanced level of 7 years of this together. A look, a signal, just a little change to a route. They have to be right there, if not the best pair, quarterback receiver that the NFL has working together right now.
And they just own this division. I mean, they own it. In 4 division games, a 145 rating, 14 touchdowns, no interceptions for Aaron Rodgers. That is called owning this division.
Touchback, Crosby. Here are the numbers. These two, last 2 years. Second in completions and yards, first in touchdowns, and that passer rating. You know, to give perspective of the passer rating, if you think of the FM dial, 88 to 108, that's on the chart. These guys are off the chart when you go way up to 133. Just doing a combination.
The FM dial. All right. I like that. It has to make you crazy because they make it look so easy.
Minnesota will get it to start the second half. A minute left here. Manning with a pass that is complete to KJ Osborne, who slides into that number 2 receiving role, the second-year man out of Miami. 3 timeouts for Minnesota. They need anything. They need a first down. They haven't had one since the opening drive. Alexander Madison is the back. And Mannion throws incomplete. Contact and a flag. And with the Vikings, their second first down of the night here.
Yeah, definitely Adrian Amos is going to come out here and sort of get his feet tangled up. I thought that might be the call. Number 31 right in front of you.
Well, the official's having a conversation.
Oh, he grabbed him.
There's no foul on the play for pass interference. It's still down.
I think everybody thought it was big tangled up the way I did. But, you know, Terry McAuley can roll his eyes better than anybody I've ever seen in my life. And when he rolls his eyes, I'm going, okay, that's probably not right.
Well, you saw the clear jersey pull there. And, again, they're down one official. Didn't catch it. So it's another third down. And LaFleur's urging on the crowd again. Mannion throws complete. There is a first down. There is Justin Jefferson, the Vikings Pro Bowl receiver. Timeout taken with 33 seconds until the half. And we'll be back in 30 seconds after this from AWS. Chris, I'm looking down at the temperature, 10 degrees, and you mentioned in the open that Sean Mannion, a baseball player, had a 90-mile-an-hour fastball. He's been throwing it with some heat, but that cannot feel good to those receivers catching the ball from him tonight.
It's not easy, but, you know, I think he's been good enough tonight. The struggle has been you had to see Dalvin Cook have a dominant first half to keep them in it, and we have not seen that.
Cook 7 carries, 17 yards. Mannion retreats underneath Conklin, just 2 yards, pulled down by Chris Barnes, the linebacker. Timeout with 28 seconds left. So it gives us a chance to remind you on this 10-degree night that it's a heck of a lot warmer in Kapalua. The PGA Tour season for 2022 picks up with the winners from 2021. Century Tournament of Champions. January in Hawaii begins next Sunday for Eastern, NBC, and Peacock.
Is that fair to tell people from Minneapolis and Green Bay about playing golf in Hawaii? You know, on the scale of the FM dial, would that fit in there?
Yeah, it's off the charts for sure. It's such a special place. Kapalua, it's so beautiful. Great place for that calendar year to start for the PGA Tour, and those winners from last year get out there. And they love their week out there for sure.
Packers showing a little double-A blitz look right up the middle.
They bail out of it, 2nd and 8. Mannion throws. That is caught out of bounds for Jefferson at the 44-yard line. So Mannion's hit a couple here with 22 seconds left.
Yeah, I think Rasul Douglas took a little bit of a shot at interception number 6 there. He broke underneath, and at the end of it, you could see the corner left in behind him going, no, man, no. Your job is to cover the outside flat. And now Collinsworth's up there on television saying that's my fault. Chandon Sullivan, that was not your fault.
Good call. He spun right around looking for his teammate. 22 to go. Mannion, collapsing pocket, taking off at 6'6", lumbers for the first down. Back at 34 and a timeout here from Minnesota, their last one with 13 seconds remaining.
I just keep thinking what this Green Bay Packers defense with Joe Barry's squad and all the things that they do with some of their stunts with Preston Smith and Rashawn Gary and Kenny Clark, what it would be like if they had Zadarius Smith. Zadarius Smith is sort of the X factor on this defense, or he was a season ago, and really he only played 18 snaps in week 1, and that was it. But Joe Barry now, I don't know how to explain it best, but sort of that soft shell coverage, and when he gets a lead like this, you have to methodically go down the field play after play, and that is a tough way to come back from 20-0 down and playing Aaron Rodgers on the other side.
And some kind of bling around the neck of Zadarius Smith, that Pro Bowler each of his first 2 seasons here. So no timeouts. 14 seconds left as the clock is readjusted. Do they take a deep shot with Jefferson here? Mannion trying to throw sideline. Nothing there. It was covered. It's incomplete. 9 seconds till halftime.
Yeah, the other thing about this Green Bay defense I've really enjoyed watching and learning more about is their ability to not play man, but to really jump on those underneath coverages in the middle of the field. So you'll see 3 linebackers in there, and you'll see everybody crisscrossing and doing all these fancy things, and they don't care. They just wait for you to come into their zone, but then they're going to jump on it. They're going to jump on it fast.
Reminds me of a basketball team playing zone defense. It gets you, stick on you. That's my guy for now. 9 to go. No timeouts. Timeout Green Bay.
Timeout. Green Bay. 30-second time.
Mannion's thrown 14 passes, completed 9.
For a guy whose last start came in 2019, he's done fine. He really has. He's proven he can, little bootleg action. He's going to be 6'6", so maybe the release time isn't quite what it's going to be from Aaron Rodgers and some of these guys, but that 90-mile-an-hour fastball, nice tight release up high over the top. It's all good.
So he was with Seattle in the preseason. He had been Minnesota's backup, and then he went to Seattle. Geno Smith won the backup job. He was the 3rd quarterback, but you know the end of the year. 3rd quarterbacks usually don't last on a roster. If there's a better option, something else in a position group. So Mannion was like, oh, Minnesota jumped right back on him, said, look, we want him. Kellen Mond, the 3rd-round pick, wasn't ready to be the 2. Have Mannion in, and he's got his moment here in Lambeau. 4-man rush, got to get it out quick. Sideline shot, everything was covered. So he just gets rid of it. So it is a cold night. This is not the best kicking condition, but they are going to try to get on the board with a 51-yard field goal.
Yeah, 55 the long for Greg Joseph, so he certainly can do it, although you wonder how many yards this takes off when it's 10 degrees outside.
The longest field goal made in the history of Lambeau Field in January is a 47-yarder. This is from 51 to get on the board for Greg Joseph. And a timeout taken by the Packers, their last.
Timeout, Green Bay.
Let's go down to Catherine.
Well, Mike, this is also the less favorable kicking direction, and Greg Joseph made a 48-yarder this way in pregame. It would have been good for 51 yards per SNF kicks. He also missed 3 within this range, but he told me in cold weather like this, you have to stay true to your technique. When the ball is this cold, it presents a challenge to kick, and that is why the technique is so important, Mike.
KT, you feeling the wind down on the field at field level?
It is windy at field level. We'll have to wait and see which direction that goes when he kicks it, but it's definitely cold down here for sure, Mike.
Yeah, we see the flags up top are moving. The ribbons on the top sometimes move, but down field level on a cold night like this, nothing's easy. From 51 to get the Vikings on the board before the break. Greg Joseph. Got it. All right, there's a little piece of history for Joseph. Longest January field goal in Lambeau history. Packs on the board. They get the ball to start the second half. Toyota halftime now with Maria, Tony, and Drew with what's coming up. Maria.
All right, thanks, Mike. All right, Aaron Rodgers has thrown for 211 yards. 118 of those have gone to Davante Adams, Coach.
Yes, and Drew, I think that Minnesota defense is going to need to come up with some takeaways, but Green Bay doesn't turn the ball over.
No, and Minnesota's offense is going to need to take some chances, be aggressive, get the ball to Justin Jefferson.
All right, well, coming up, we have highlights from today, including Joe Burrow and the Bengals, because they were dancing in the locker room. Check them out, Drew and Coach. It looks pretty good.
Yeah.
We're breaking it down on how they're dancing and why they're dancing on the Toyota Halftime Show.
Want to stay up to date? Hey Siri, show me football standings. Welcome to the Toyota Halftime. Let's go places.
And this play right here was Aaron Rodgers' 35th touchdown pass of the season, and it goes to none other than Davante Adams, continuing to dance in the end zone. The Packers are up 20-3 on top of the Vikings. Welcome back inside the studio. Maria Taylor alongside Tony Dungy and Drew Brees, and we want to bring you the best of Week 17. Only 1 week left to play in the regular season, and we start in the NFC, Coach, with an odd scene in MetLife Stadium. It was Antonio Brown visibly upset as he left the stadium in the third quarter. Bruce Arians later said he was no longer a Buck, but on the field, Tom Brady got it done.
And how many times have we said that? Tom Brady with some clutch throws at the end to win the game.
14-point deficit completely erased. Arizona on the road taking on Dallas. Cardinals get a win, Drew.
Yeah, Arizona was down a few weapons, but they really responded, controlled the tempo on offense all game, and defense was able to get pressure on Dak.
The Rams on the road taking on Baltimore. The Rams are rolling, winners of 5 straight.
They are, and they're getting Odell Beckham Jr. more involved in the offense.
They can clinch the NFC West with a win over the 49ers next week. Now, the Vegas Raiders taking on the Indianapolis Colts, and it was a field goal to win it.
Yeah, they really outplayed the Colts in all phases today. They've won 3 in a row. Derek Carr made some big throws down the stretch.
Miami, they've won 7 straight, but then they ran into the Tennessee Titans.
Yes, and Tennessee getting that mojo back, running the football, play action passes, and strong defense.
Kansas City taking on Cincinnati. Big plays all day for the Bengals, Drew.
Yeah, since he was down 14 points early, but the big play Bengals really showed up in the second half thanks to Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow.
The Bengals win the AFC North for the first time since 2015. You saw Evan McPherson knocking down that field goal from 20. They get the victory over the Chiefs. But let's go back to the Tennessee Titans, Coach, because they lose Derrick Henry, the NFL's leading rusher at the time. They still clinch their division, and now they're in the seat for the 1 seed. They're 1 win away.
Yeah, and this Cincinnati win today really helped them. Now, all they have to do is beat Houston next week. They'll be the #1 seed. Another week to get Derrick Henry back healthier. And if they have to play the Chiefs again, it won't be in Arrowhead Stadium.
And how about the Rams? They're on a nice little win streak here. They've put themselves in the position of the 2 seed. But this week's game against the San Francisco 49ers, they're fighting to get into the playoffs. The Rams are still fighting for division championship. They've lost 5 in a row to the Niners. Kyle Shanahan has really had their number. So this is a game they have to win. This is the reason they went out and got guys like Matthew Stafford, Odell Beckham Jr., Von Miller. So this is a game they need to win this week.
And they might not have to do it against Jimmy Garoppolo. It might be against Trey Lance, who played well today.
Yeah.
Well, 5 of 7 spots are clinched in both the AFC and the NFC, but it still comes down to Week 18 and what is the biggest season ever, so it'll be fun to watch for sure. Now, coming up, a tribute to John Madden. Meanwhile, we have tomorrow marking the month until the Winter Olympics begin, and earlier today, 3-time Olympic medalist Alana Myers-Taylor won the 2-women bobsled World Cup event in Latvia, and it was the Georgia native's first win in this first event since the birth of her son, Nico, in 2020. Myers-Taylor will be a strong contender when the Winter Olympics begin on February 3rd on NBC and Peacock. Well, this week we lost the legendary John Madden, whose impact on football and generations of fans goes completely unmatched. Now this perspective from his longtime friend and Sunday Night Football colleague, Al Michaels.
It's been similar to the passing of a dignitary, an icon. All week long, the tributes have poured in from people of every generation. Fans old enough to remember when he was the young coach of one of the best teams in football for a decade. Viewers who will always remember the way he taught them the game, how he made it so accessible, understandable, and entertaining. And video game players as well, who've learned the game by playing the Madden game, built to resemble the real deal as much as possible.
I'd still run it right out.
The reason for all this is evident. John Madden was an American treasure, the rarest of the rare, someone who was universally liked and admired and respected, and who spent his life making football even more fun. For those of us fortunate enough to have had him as a friend and a colleague, John Madden was every bit the man you hoped he'd be. In addition to football, he loved talking about history, geography, current events, food, life, anything and everything.
This has been the sweetest ride of them all.
And so, it's no surprise he loved traveling around the country at his own pace, genuinely and intimately connecting with thousands of people from every state. John Madden made everyone around him better. He was a real-life, larger-than-life character. He was the one and only.
The NFL has been honoring John Madden all night, and it's only fitting that Week 17 ends at Lambeau Field, one of his favorite locations in the NFL. We've got second half coming next, Vikings and Packers.
This has been the Toyota Halftime. Let's go places. Tonight's first half highlights are brought to you by Chevrolet.
From 35, who the hole was not clean, but Crosby puts the Packers on the board. Watch the hole much cleaner. Bojorquez gets it down, and Crosby has a 36-yarder. Rodgers goes back to the other side towards Lazard, who's got it down in bounds. Aaron dealing over the middle. Touchdown, Adams. They've done it again.
Chevrolet. Find new roads.
The Green Bay Packers up 17. 30 minutes from number one seed in the NFL playoffs. 2-11 for Rodgers is a first half season high this year. Davante Adams, good in week 11, even better here in week 17 against the Vikings. Minnesota just one first down in those first 4 drives. Got some on the end. They got to the field goal, the back end of that first half. We started at 11 degrees. It is 10 now. The feels like is 1 as we go down to Catherine Tappan.
Well, Mike, I talked to Mike Zimmer at halftime, and he was very disappointed in his team's lack of offense, but he said it's not Sean Mannion's fault. We haven't even called some run plays. We haven't even tried to run the ball. And defensively, he said we have to get our hands on Davante Adams and Aaron Rodgers. But Matt LaFleur told me there's no defense for Adams and Rodgers. They're 2 outstanding players playing at the top of their game. His message to his team at halftime, it's 0-0. Play that way for the next 30 minutes. Mike?
Do that, and they'll get a week off coming up. But Chris, to your point in the first half, that's exactly what Zimmer said. And you got to wonder, how is that happening? You've got to get the ball to Cook in some form or fashion here.
Well, the thing that surprised me, Mike, is we saw Cleveland have success doing some of those pin and pull, where you pull offensive linemen out and around. And we really haven't seen that. We've seen some outside runs, some outside zone kind of stuff. But I was wondering if some of those concepts that Mike was talking about that they haven't even run yet might come out here in the second half.
Mason Crosby to kick it off. They want to move back deep to receive. There's going to be another touchback. And Sean Mannion and the Vikings will start at the 25-yard line. Mentioned start number 3 in his NFL career, drafted in 2015. His other 2 were Week 17 games that had no impact on the postseason race. This is the first one with meaning, and he has shown you that strong arm. The guy who everybody said, very smart, total command of the offense. They told us coming in the game plan wouldn't change much from what it would have been with Kirk Cousins. Maybe a little more running, and they start the half with Dalvin Cook inside, and that's only 1 yard. Didn't go anywhere. Frank Clark was waiting.
All right, you have 2 deep safeties, which means you have to run the football, and you've got a double team on Clark inside here, so you have to win. And yet there's Clark making the play. You know, what are you going to call? You're the offensive coordinator. You tell me. You can't call anything. I mean, that defense demands that you run the football, and they can't.
We said Kenny Clark just dominated that game inside in Minneapolis. Look at him pushing the center back here. This is a pass complete to the fullback, C.J. Ham, only a yard. Devondre Campbell makes it 3rd and long.
You know, it doesn't make any difference to me if I get beat 75-0 or 6-5, right? A loss is a loss in this situation at this point in the season.
Especially with your season on the line.
Yeah, at some point, you've got your best player on the field is Justin Jefferson. And the problem is because you're way behind, they're going to have so much support in behind him that there's just no way. I'm sure in Minnesota, they're going, throw it deep to Jefferson. It worked the last game. It can't work now the way they're playing defense.
3 catches, 30 yards for Jefferson, 3rd and 8. Mannion off his back foot, flinging over the head of K.J. Osborne. An incomplete. Eric Stokes had the coverage underneath. And it will be 3 and out for the Vikings again.
Yeah, as soon as I said that, they actually did go right to a man coverage on the outside. But Eric Stokes, who I think is just going to be a superstar in this league, their top draft pick, 4.25 speed. And I'll take my chances with Stokes one-on-one against what they have remaining of the receiving corps here.
David Moore awaits Jordan Berry's punt. The 26-yard line. Some space here and a good cut up the field. David Moore with a nice return out of bounds at the 48 and tack on 15 as they got him as he hit the out of bounds strike. Ty Smith running over for the Vikings.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Minnesota, number 5. 15-yard penalty, 1st down Green Bay. Timeout.
So 3 and out for the Vikings. Had the penalty. Great field position for the Packers and Rodgers.
Look at our next-gen stats powered by AWS. And one thing we know about Aaron Rodgers is you better get a little pressure on him. 123 quarterback rating when he's in a clean pocket, as he's been all night tonight, and a 65 rating under pressure. So to have a chance to knock off Aaron Rodgers, you simply have to get some pressure. And because of the depletion up front, especially at that pass rusher position for the Minnesota Vikings, they can't do it naturally, and they can't really afford to bring pressure because they can't hold up in man coverage on the back end with these wide receivers.
Total command in that first half. And now with the penalty taking over at the 37. And Rodgers' pass is broken up, trying to get it to Adams. The flag will be thrown against Eric Kendricks. Thought he was clean on Devontae Adams. Not the case, according to the official.
Pass interference. Defense, number 54. The ball be placed at the spot of the foul, automatic. 1st down.
So they have the double team out there, right? You've got Harrison Smith on the outside, and then you have Kendricks there, and that little reach around and hug is what got it done there. And you feel a little bit for Kendricks going, okay, no problem, guys. I'll cover him all the way over there. But that's the problem with the lack of pressure, the lack of natural pressure, is that you end up with people in coverage way too long.
34 out quick to Lazard. He used that strength to bring it in as Xavier Woods was all over him to the 25. It's a gain of 9.
I really like Alan Lazard, and I think that if you ask Matt LaFleur, he'd say I really like him too, because remember, LaFleur came out of some of the old Rams kind of systems, and what do you have to do if you're in that system? Your wide receivers have to block. Now you've got a 6'5", 227-pound guy. So as we've heard before from coaches, when you have an option of who you're going to throw certain plays to, a lot of times the blockers get those balls.
2nd and 1, they'll just power it inside with A.J. Dillon. He's got the first down at the 22. Here's Catherine.
Well, Alan Lazard told me that he points to his first touchdown catch in 2019 as the moment when he really gained trust with Aaron Rodgers. He said, Aaron pulling me off the bench in that Monday night game against the Lions, knowing that I had dropped the pass before, he throws an absolute dime for me to be able to catch. And ever since that moment, I got that confirmation from him. He said, now the two have a solid understanding of timing and spacing and what Rodgers is thinking, which has really allowed this pair to have success, Mike.
There's been a lot of players in that similar conversation. Practice squad, undrafted, late-round picks. They earn the trust of Rodgers on the practice field, and then some random week it comes out, and they build something special. Rodgers pressured this time and incomplete as he got rid of it towards Adams. That was the first time the Vikings really closed down the house on the Packers quarterback.
Well, Richardson. How about that? Sheldon Richardson, who, God bless him, he's been bumped out to the outside to play in because they don't really have anybody else. Good inside move there against Josh Nijman, who is replacing David Bakhtiari, also replacing Elton Jenkins at that left tackle position. But he really, for a third guy, pretty amazing job this year.
Gives it, turns it up. Turns on the power to the 15-yard line. Give him 8 there. It'll be 3rd and short.
You know, when Aaron Rodgers can fake the ball, so they have 3 wide receivers out to the left, right? And the outside edge rusher has to try and bat the ball down if you're going to throw it quickly out there. So that's 4 guys you're taking completely out of a run that's going in the opposite direction. That's a lot to handle for a defense.
32, right back to that inside run to Dillon. Another first down as the rugby scrum is stopped at the 11-yard line. What's that nickname? Quadzilla? Dillon.
I love the scrums, don't you? So here comes Runyon, and then right in behind him as the lead pusher is Josh Nijman. So they're going to come in behind, and you get the push, and then you just push your back right down the field, and there's your first down. I think more and more teams are getting sophisticated with the use of this, because usually you get a stalemate, and if one offensive lineman plays add-on, the whole pile gets pushed.
Inside the 12 on first down, right back inside. And Dillon runs it to the 4. So they took him out of Boston College in the 2nd round last year. 46 carries, 250 yards or so. Not a huge impact, but what an impact he's having this year.
I'll tell you the other guy who never gets enough credit. Watch here, the double team and up. Royce Newman, he is the rookie, but he's also the only guy that has been playing every single game. And yeah, he's made a few mistakes in there, but he really gives them a physical presence. Usually when he makes a mistake, it's sort of a mental, I haven't seen that loop before, whatever. But you let him go power block all day.
Right back to Dillon, doing the work on this drive, looking for the payoff, and in for the touchdown. A.J. Dillon's 4th on the year. And the Packers use power to extend the lead.
That time, Big John Runyon with the lead block. Right here he is. And you're just going to see these guys, because when you can mix this kind of power and get that kind of push going backwards, and then a little scrum action put on top of it, and oh, by the way, you have Aaron Rodgers throwing the football. There's a reason this team is the #1 seed, and somebody, one of those warm weather teams, are going to have to come up here to chilly Green Bay and make a play.
It was funny there. Dylan reached out the right arm. The ball's in the left arm like he was swimming. He finished that stroke. Reach for the wall. And he broke the plane.
You have to wonder how much is going to be enough tonight, because you're sitting on gold this year. You're the Green Bay Packers, and you sort of have this thing a little bit in hand. Aaron Rodgers with that toe. How many more plays is he going to get?
We can talk about that, because they close this out and they can rest that toe next week. 27-3 Green Bay. Start your new year. The critics love NBC's 2 new comedies, saying American Auto is hilarious, and the next The Office and Grand Crew is deeply funny. So don't miss this new duo Tuesday. The comedies on NBC. Lots of smiles around Green Bay as the Packers are quarter and about 2/3 away from closing out the #1 seed in the NFC.
Do they have suntan beds up here at all? I don't know.
You guys happy for the rest of the night, no matter what? Nothing going right here for the Vikings, who have been limited to less than 100 yards on this night. Part of the reason is none of their starting quarterback. Kirk Cousins, who is out, tested positive for COVID-19 on Friday. 29 straight games with the TD pass, longest active streak in the NFL. And since he's been with the Vikings, 4th most in your first 4 seasons with the team, that 121 touchdowns is the 5th most in that stretch. Kirk Cousins has the stats, perhaps not the stature to match those stats. And his testing positive and the timing of it, and Sean Mannion having to start here, will just keep the conversation going in Minnesota about their quarterback. First down pass by Mannion's complete. D.D. Westbrook with the catch. And minimal gain there. There's going to be a lot of unpacking with the Minnesota season here, as it looks like it's going to end with playoff hopes. And a lot of it's going to be a conversation about Kirk Cousins not being available here tonight.
Yeah, and there's no way to avoid that discussion at this point, because you have to take it into consideration, especially as you move forward. Who knows what's going to happen with COVID in the future? Nobody knows. So
Tyler Conklin the catch here across the 40, and the tight end takes it to the 44-yard line. The 1 point, Sean Mannion, the quarterback tonight, was on the COVID-19 list last week. He's vaccinated, so we are getting this situation where we've seen players go on and off the list because of not their vaccination status, just how this Omicron virus, or Omicron strain of the virus, has spread. Cook bouncing outside, he's brought down. Preston Smith over there with the tackle. There is a penalty flag on the field.
Holding, offense number 56. Penalties declined. 2nd down.
Garrett Bradbury, the center.
You know, the fear is that as we go deeper into the playoffs here, how this football season is going to be impacted by late news concerning COVID. You know, and it really comes down. People want me to make predictions all the time about who's going to the Super Bowl. Like, you tell me who's playing, and I'll tell you who I think is going to win.
Right.
But there is so much uncertainty built into the rest of this season, it's impossible.
Second and 15. Mannion throws incomplete. Davis in on the coverage of Justin Jefferson. Still sitting on 3 catches.
Yeah, the timing of this, even with Kirk Cousins in the game, has never been very good. Jefferson can be so quick coming out of this cut, but tonight really not been the case. They really needed to work this middle part of the field, but when you just haven't had a chance, remember they didn't even have practice time this week. we've seen a very difficult, and for Jefferson there, he took a shot in the back.
Third 15, Packers bring 4. Mannion throws complete to Conklin. A long way to go. He'll end up 3 yards shy of the first down. Down 24. Halfway point of the third. Must-win game. Zimmer will keep the offense out there, you'd imagine.
Yeah, good strategy, too. It's one of those, you take the check down, and ordinarily you go, okay, it's going to be 4th and 2 or 3. But in the NFL today, 4th and 2 or 3 around midfield is just like 3rd down used to be.
Yep.
Again, help leaning over the top of Jefferson. They really need somebody else to make a play.
4th and 3. Mannion climbs the pocket, throws behind Jefferson, and incomplete. And the Packers will take over on downs. Little movement on that drive, but Minnesota thwarted at midfield. The Packers will take over again. What's the laughter? Is that a no?
Yeah, that's a hard no.
That's Shadow Lake, about 35 miles northwest of Lambeau here. I hope you come back for a playoff game. You can get out there, and sure they'll be happy to host you on Shadow Lake.
That'd be great.
Here's Rodgers on first down, flinging it. Oh, he had a wide open Dillon. He leaked out. Rodgers couldn't get to it as he was pressured. Dalvin Tomlinson got there.
Yeah, just a little pressure, right? We've been talking about it all night long. If Aaron Rodgers is great, obviously, but he just saw Tomlinson coming and went, okay, let's just get rid of that. It is interesting to watch Aaron, though, at the line of scrimmage and the way that he reads defenses. You could almost see his brain clicking, can't you, as he's scanning the field, and he really starts up front.
Here's second down again with time, and it's Adams to the 38-yard line. 13 on that one.
Yeah, watch Aaron Rodgers at the line of scrimmage, and he's just going to check you out. He's going to go all the way across the front here, and based on what he sees with that front, he knows what the secondary is going to do. And I asked Harrison Smith, has he ever taken advantage of you? He said one time he's looking at the front, and he points to me, and he goes, come here, I know you're coming down. I know you're coming to the line of scrimmage, so I just came on down. He knew what he was talking about.
Cam. Switching over to this play, Rodgers on the boot. Throws it to Tyler Davis. The tight end slides down the first down. Second-year man out of Georgia Tech. Takes it inside the 30-yard line.
Yeah, go up there with a couple of plays at the line of scrimmage, depending on what he sees, what he likes. There's the old tap of the helmet. You've seen Tom Brady do it. Let's go to play number 2. He'll have some buzzword. A lot of times it's kill, 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 whatever. And they just go to a second play. So not only do you have to deal with what he knows once the ball's snapped, but he's got multiple plays that he can get to depending on which defense you're in, which is why young quarterbacks find it impossible to match up with these veterans.
Here we go, doing the can again. Rodgers gonna run out of bounds, and he'll get the first down. Mike Zimmer sitting over here trying to figure out a way to come up with one of those wrinkles, but nothing to answer it here tonight. Green Bay's got command of this one.
Yeah, they try and send a little blitz, and then he runs, and you know it's just tough. I mean, it really is. And as you try to put together a team that can knock off Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers, it's a long list of things that you have to account for.
Fans, a little bit of an MVP chant building there as they hand off here to Aaron Jones. Can I come back to what you were talking about before with Rodgers reading the front and then looking? How atypical is that for quarterbacks in terms of looking at the front first?
I think the veteran quarterbacks, that's sort of how they do it. And I think the younger quarterbacks look at the two safeties and see, is it single high or double high.
Right.
You know, that's step one.
Right.
And then as you go through the evolution of what you learn, you know, based on that front, is that safety going to come down? Where's the vulnerability going to be? That's the reason you can see Aaron so many times at the snap of the ball, he knows what that rotation is going to be, and he's going to get it to that single high receiver for a big play.
Jones running left inside the 20-yard line. You hear all these numbers with all these terminology with the front, under front, over front, three technique. Al's favorite comment about the fronts and the lingo. But it's interesting. Many people will tell you that's the way to learn how to watch football. Watch from the inside and then out.
That was John Madden. You know, because I used to try and pick John's brain all the time. I said, what do you do? Tell me how you see the game. Oh, you don't want to know what I do. And I go, yeah, no, I really want to know what you do. And he said, I look at the offensive line. And he said, they'll tell you where the ball's going to go. And they really do. As you look at it from behind the quarterback, you can tell by the pass set.
Here is Rodgers with a shot for the end zone. Trying to get it to Marquez Valdez-Scantling on third down. It's incomplete. Mason Crosby's going to trot out here for a field goal attempt.
Yeah, so, okay, you play John Madden for a minute here. So you're looking at this offensive line. They're going to come back in a pass set. Okay, the minute they do that, I'm going to start looking out at the coverage. I'm going to look at the coverage beforehand, see a safety right there. But I also know, based on how they're blocking, how the defense is approaching it, exactly where the open receiver is going to be. Now, sometimes, because I never watch the ball, sometimes there's 10 times a year I have no idea what happened on a play. Absolutely none.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
Crosby's got a straight. 35, 36, 37. It's 10 degrees. 10th Avenue freeze out in Green Bay. The NFL Inspire Change Initiative focuses on reducing barriers to opportunity, creating progress in education, economic investment, community, police relations, also criminal justice reform. To find out more, you can text NFLIC to that number, 635-635, and learn more. It takes all of us to advance social justice. You see Anthony Barr and some of the images from Minneapolis and Twin Cities were in the center of a lot of that conversation, and several of the Viking players, starting with Barr, very active, very vocal, and very present as well. And the NFL taking this week the opportunity around the league to remind that Inspire Change message and keep it alive as they have over the last couple of years.
A lot of really good people in the National Football League who are working on their off days and doing things that you never see, but it's really a pleasure to get a chance to meet them and discuss what's important to them.
Couldn't agree more. It doesn't get talked about enough. It really doesn't. Today, Wanhu will bring it out from a couple deep. He's taken two to the house this year. He had to get his hands on one. A nice return out to the 35-yard line. Down to the field in Catherine.
Well, you guys were talking about Anthony Barr. He is the Vikings Walt Payton Man of the Year nominee. He raised the Barr Foundation, partners with single-parent students and their children to expand their opportunities through education. Barr grew up in a single-parent home, and he told me, I see my mom in those moms. I see myself in those kids, and I'm so grateful to continue to have success, and we are able to provide them with hope and opportunity.
Love that. Been in that world, you know how important those moms are, and good for you, Anthony Barr, for reaching out and doing that and making a difference in people's lives. Sean Mannion and the Vikings take over at the 35. Jefferson gets popped by Amos, but he hangs on. Gain of 10 and a first down for Minnesota.
We definitely know what we're getting with Justin Jefferson, right? Here comes that dig route again. Look how quickly he makes that cut and is able to go across the field. Even Kirk Cousins was having a tough time keeping up with that cut because it's so fast, and he saw it all the time.
Mannion's pass is rejected by Dean Lowry. 6th-year man out of Northwestern got the arm up there. So Jefferson with that catch is 4th on the night. Take him to 101 on the season. So a 100 reception season, and closing in on 1,500 yards behind Cooper Kupp's phenomenal MVP conversation season that Kupp has put up.
You can make an argument that nobody's had the first 2 seasons that young man right there has had. And you compare him to the greatest of the greats that ever played in the National Football League, and this is before we get to game 17, so it counts.
Right. It's apples to apples. Cook may not get started tonight anyway, running the ball or as a receiver. Devondre Campbell with the tackle. Third down coming up. Cook limps over to the sideline.
Yeah, there's some good things going on with the Vikings. They've been in every game. Every game feels like it's down to the wire, and there's their superstar limping off the field. Got some good players up front, and eventually you have to be able to take down the Green Bay Packers, and they've done it as well as just about anybody, but here they go again, and it's 3rd and 10. You just can't make a living like this.
Mannion. It's complete. Good hustle by Jefferson, extending, working hard. And Markle very close to the first down. Looks like it'll just be a little bit shy. And another 4th down. Go for it if they are shy. And they are. You talked about Jefferson. You know, oftentimes you'll get a matchup of a good quarterback against a good quarterback in a game. You'll ask one quarterback about the other. Justin Jefferson has the attention and the respect of everyone, including the big receiver on the other side, as Mannion uses his 6'6" frame to keep it and get the first down. Davante Adams, we asked him about Justin Jefferson and what he had to observe watching Jefferson's first 2 years. And the kid's special.
I haven't seen anybody come in a while and play like the way that he's playing right now. He really strikes me as somebody that has it figured out, whatever that means, because I wasn't playing that fast in my first and second year. I respect what he's doing, and it's really fun to watch.
Alexander Madison, that catch there, brought down by Devondre Campbell. That's high respect from Adams.
It really is, and I remember watching Jefferson, who played in the slot at LSU, and you didn't feel the speed that he's played in the NFL with. And that would have been yet another draft miss for me because I didn't see it even at the position that I played. But, man, what's he got? Oh.
Huge hit there by Amos. And it's a big center by Bradbury, the center, who keeps going to the 14-yard line.
We've got an immaculate reception from a lineman.
Bradbury ends up catching it. The concern is Conklin, the receiver, who has stayed down after that big hit. There is the hit by Amos. It was legal, and it popped back up. And
I don't want him to be hurt, but that's an unbelievable play by a center.
Garrett Bradbury got right out there, and like you said, almost that similar area where Franco Harris caught it in the early 70s at Three Rivers and made the catch and went on for the touchdown.
Just a huge, clean, legal hit on the back end. But for Bradbury to see that is one thing. For Bradbury to make the catch is another thing. For Bradbury to run like he's an NFL fullback is another thing.
And it's so good to see Conklin get up and walk off after that big, but as we said, legal hit.
It's too bad it's 30-3, or they'd be having a lot of fun right now.
Right.
I told you, he's a freaky athlete. He really is. When you know, so much of football these days for offensive linemen is about, you know, pulling out and cutting off linebackers, and he was one of the best I've ever seen do that in college. He was just a great player, the Remington Award winner at the center position. The only time he ever gets into trouble, we all have flaws, is sometimes when they just put those big 340-pound nose tacklers right over.
Clock running down here, end of the third. Last play of the quarter is Mannion throwing to the goal line and in for the touchdown to K.J. Osborne. And the Viking fans who made the trip cheer their team getting on the board to make it 30-9 as Osborne gets his 6th touchdown reception on the season.
Yeah, and congratulations to Sean Mannion. That is his first touchdown of his career. And all those split safety looks and all of that, sometimes you just have to drill one in there. And he certainly has the arm to get that done. Big high delivery. You can see why the Minnesota Vikings coaches really, they liked him. They felt good about him coming into this game.
Greg Joseph's extra point makes it 30-10. He'll always say, my first touchdown pass drive, my center caught a pass. After 3, it is 30-10 Green Bay, and Sunday Night Football continues after these messages.
Brats, Green Bay. Where else?
It all goes together, doesn't it?
John, I am not a sauerkraut guy. Are you?
Yeah, I am. I'll put some kraut on a brat, but kind of wonder where those boots have been before.
Yeah.
I was thinking this, when you watch that, you can't help but think about the boots that are in there, and only John could think of
saying it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, it wasn't like he was even telling a joke. It's just like, you got to wonder, where the boots have been, Are they designated just for sauerkraut? I don't know.
Well, in John's honor, I did have a brat at halftime. The soup looked good, but you had to have a brat.
Don't get me off.
Returned by Equanimous St. Brown for Green Bay. Takes it out past the 30-yard line. So here's the story in the NFC. Packers are a quarter away from icing down that #1 seed, and then the road to the Super Bowl will come through here in the NFC. The Rams in the 2 spot, Tampa in the 3, and the loss puts Dallas in the 4. Philadelphia gets in with a win by Green Bay here, and New Orleans stays alive at 8-8. The Vikings eliminated if they don't find a way to come back from down 20 here in the 4th. 20, Rodgers throwing, Dillon out of the backfield, gains 11. Harrison Smith along for the ride.
And Mike, looking at that, I can't help but think about if the Dallas Cowboys, as that 4 seed, happen to win their first wild card round action, 4 seed Dallas Cowboys coming to Lambeau with everything that would mean with McCarthy and the history of that game and all the different frozen tundra traditions, that would be something else.
The Ice Bowl, of course, you'll see that 1,000 times. Go back to 1967. That famous game. 41, Dillon to the right. He'll gain about 9 yards. That was the era in the day where the Packers are at home in the playoffs. It's over. They're going to win. They didn't lose a game, right? But then things changed a little bit. And since then, the Packers 500 here. Just a game over in the postseason. Those postseason home losses in that stretch over the last 19 seasons. And they were the #1 seed a couple of those times, including last year.
Yeah, you do too much ice fishing, ice gets thin.
Telling you come back for a playoff game, you're going. Dillon with the run for the first down. We showed you earlier the neighborhoods around here, and you saw the aerial shot before. It made me think, I told you I was out for a walk, and you go right by the Packers practice facility, and it's Mike McCarthy Way. And Mike McCarthy could be coming right down Mike McCarthy Way, right into here to play a playoff game. Just a block away, right over there somewhere.
Yeah, they might put a detour sign on that one.
Yeah. Huh?
Isn't this place so cool, though?
It's the best.
I mean, we go to so many cities, and we're so lucky to have this job. And then you just drive down the road in this cute little town, and there's Lambeau Field.
Rodgers lofts it out there, incomplete, over the head of the other tight end. Dominic Daphne hasn't seen a target yet tonight. It's so unique, and we talk about it over the years, the ownership, the stock sale, another stock sale that's been going on here with the Packers, the community ownership, all that stuff. Sometimes not having an owner hinders some of the things the franchise does. Spending free agent money, resolving the issues with Aaron Rodgers that bubbled up in the offseason, probably taken care of more directly if you had one of those owner types with a big personality to not let anything fester. However, there is so much about this story that is just a unique slice of American sports. Equanimous St. Brown to the 34-yard line. And a first down for the Packers.
Yeah, I've met a lot of owners from the Green Bay Packers. That is for sure over the years. There's Aaron Rodgers, and we're talking about the toe and all the different things, but the accuracy of the guy. And Mike, I think one of the things that maybe Aaron would admit, maybe not, but I really do feel like that Matt LaFleur, Nathaniel Hackett, some of the coaches that he works directly with, he is so much more. There's Nathaniel right there, up for the Jacksonville job, one of the candidates down there as well. But the discipline of the way that he takes what is given to him and how that has evolved in this offense over the 3 years makes it very difficult to beat these guys.
Now to Adams, who was on the move to the 28-yard line. Over there into the sideline. And a first down gain of about 5.
Because I really thought Aaron, for a year or two there, got a little too cute.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? He was wanting to scramble. He was wanting to move, wanting to step up, wanting to sidearm a few, wanting to do it. But now I watch him, and his game is so tight. It is delivering the ball. The accuracy has been amazing this season. He's going to win his 2nd straight MVP, I believe, unless something weird happens here. And it's all part of the whole mix of how this offense and these coaches have fit together with him.
Rodgers takes time out before the delay of game there, so we'll step out with 11:22 to go, and the Packers up 20. The game powered by Microsoft Surface. Show and tell time.
Here we go, Mr. Inside, Mr. Outside. You want to see a little bit of that?
Yes, sir.
Well, we certainly have plenty of it because these two backs, Aaron Jones will start with Mr. Outside, his ability to get down the field and explode around the edge. And then about the time you start playing that, you get the scrums coming. And big A.J. Dillon, 250 pounds a man, coming right at you. And, oh yeah, by the way, you've got Aaron Rodgers, Davante Adams, a lot to cover if you're going to beat the #1 seed and keep the Green Bay Packers out of the Super Bowl this year.
6 yards per rush for the Packers on their 22 running attempts tonight. Rodgers has 272, 2 touchdowns so far. Flip it out. Dillon as a pass catcher, continuing to expand that part of his game. Another accurate toss from Rodgers.
Well, family night here in Green Bay is always fun because you get a chance to see Aaron Rodgers. And these are some nice, cute little throws into the net. And then he backs up and launches one about 50 yards down the field. And that swishes. Look at him.
In the rain, too.
I can't miss. I can't miss.
We've been out to Packers practice over the years and watched Rodgers as the quarterbacks do their drills, working on that for years. And becomes competitive, and he usually does a pretty good job with it. Second time in this drive, Chris Boyd, the corner who's starting for Cameron Dantzler tonight, is coming out of the lineup.
Yeah, I made a little joke the other day with Matt LaFleur about Aaron Rodgers leaving, and he found no humor in it whatsoever. And I think that they mended a lot of fences, don't you? It's starting to feel like maybe they're keeping the band together here.
At the 19-yard line, Rodgers completes it out to Ryan DeGuara. Take it to the 11, pick up 8. It's a 20-point game here, 10:44 to go, and of interest to many folks who are watching fantasy football. It's the end of the fantasy football season, but to these guys, it's just about the #1 seed. As you look at the brain trust of Mark Murphy, the president, CEO on the left, and Brian Gutekunst, the general manager of these Green Bay Packers. That's what you were talking about with Rodgers. He mentioned them and Russ Ball by name last week when talking about the totality of the experience this year. And just that was seen as a sign that maybe the relationships are better. On the boot, Rodgers. Adams with the catch. And he brought down at the 12. It'll be 3rd down.
Yeah, the one thing that we talked to Aaron about and that he brought up to us is that, hey, it wasn't all their fault. Communication's a two-way thing.
Yep.
I could have done a better job going out and asking them questions or asked to get involved in the draft or whatever the case may have been. And so that also is a little clue for me that, you know, you start taking a little of the responsibility on yourself, you're halfway there.
3rd and 3. Vikings bring 4. Rodgers is flushed. On the run, taken off, slides to the first down at the 6-yard line with Harrison Smith coming on in.
You know, it's a 20-point lead, and so you have to continue to play, right? We've seen crazier things with 9 minutes to go. But all of Green Bay, while they're chanting MVP, also had to have a little bit of that breath taken away when he took off like that.
That's a good one. Timeout taken here by the Vikings, as they were trying to get sorted on defense. The MVP conversation, who's in the race? Well, there are the Rodgers numbers again, 4 interceptions. There's stuff to go with the numbers, obviously, for every candidate. Brady getting close to 5,000 yards now on the season, 40 touchdowns, including the late one to beat the Jets at MetLife today. And Cooper Kupp's likely going to go for the Triple Crown. Lead in receptions and receiving yards, receiving TDs. And Jonathan Taylor, I know the Colts lost to the Raiders today, but what a season he has had, leading the NFL in all the rushing categories.
And you know what's interesting for me is that Aaron Rodgers played that Saints defense on opening day.
Oh, yeah.
And was horrible.
Yep.
2 of his 4 interceptions thrown that day. It was just a terrible day. Terrible quarterback rating, the whole thing. But that was opening day. Tom Brady came back and had an equally bad game, but it was late in the season, and all of a sudden now it's a one-man race for MVP, at least among the quarterbacks.
The 7, Dillon on the inside. Howard to the goal line, and in again. A.J. Dillon, Green Bay touchdown with a leap.
I love power football. I just do. I like watching the big guys inside. John Runyon over on right there is just going to start the push going forward. And the push never does anything but go down the field towards the goal line. Watch the push. We got cut off by the kicker.
I like kickers.
Me too.
Mason Crosby makes that one to make it 37-6. A.J. Dillon added to that push too. There's the push, Chris.
Sure.
And Dillon finishes it off. And the Packers closed in on the number 1 seed. Casey Andringa from Milwaukee was over in Pyeongchang, finished 5th in mogul skiing in the 2018 Winter Olympics, here enjoying a night in Green Bay, and was cheered by the crowd when introduced a short time ago as we get set for the 2022 Winter Games. Get past midnight. We'll be exactly 1 month away from our first night of Olympic coverage on NBC. Exciting February we have coming up with the Olympics. And once we're through week 1 of the Olympics, Super Bowl 56 in Los Angeles, 6 weeks from tonight. If you want to get there in the NFC, it's going to include a successful road trip here, beating the Packers. One whose return shy of the 20-yard line. So Mike Zimmer, in year 8, he replaced Leslie Frazier as the coach of the Vikings, had a good run with him, 3 playoffs. So when he took the job, you think back to his days with the Dallas Cowboys and Bill Parcells and the advice on being a head coach. Your best friends are going to disappoint you. 4 or 5 things every day happen, wish wouldn't happen. Got to handle them to keep this job. And then, Chris, I'm thinking about number 3 for Mike Zimmer. Right now, it's lonely. This is one of those times when it's really lonely to be a head coach. And his new quarterback in, Kellen Mond, the rookie, the 3rd-round pick out of Texas A&M, inactive the first 14 games, making his NFL debut here with that snap to Alexander Madison, and it down to the 25-yard line.
Yeah, you know, the whole game starts now, right? What are they going to do? People always want to talk about changes and everything that's going to go on. I mean, you could hire a new coach. You're not going to hire a better coach. But the NFL is a funny place to work.
Mond is pressured, gets it to Madison, who's immediately met by Chandon Sullivan. No gain there. The Vikings will miss the playoffs of back-to-back seasons for the first time under Zimmer. The 3rd time in 4 years since that Minneapolis Miracle season where they made the NFC Championship game. They'll miss The team has not been over 500 any point each of the last 2 seasons. As you said, Chris, a lot of close games. 12 straight games decided by 1 possession. Tonight, the one night that the Vikings are not competitive of the entire season. 3rd and 5. Mond nearly threw his first interception. Chris Barnes almost had it there. His 3rd-round pick. Just 3 it out.
And Chris Barnes had a walk-in backwards touchdown on his. Oh, this is rough right here. He's going to come over there. Even his family might make a little fun of him for this one. You know, it is interesting, though, for me. I wanted to see a little bit of Kellen Mond, too. I wanted to see what he's going to do. But as we learn from the 5 quarterbacks that got all the attention in the draft this year, it's a long process to get to where Aaron Rodgers is.
A lot of folks in Minneapolis wanted to see Mond here tonight. You see, it's a long way to go in his development. David Moore caught it. He's tackled at the 14-yard line. 7:18 to go. Well, coverage is brought to you by Geico, Milwaukee and Madison, and then Green Bay. Fox River. Here at Lambeau, these are some of the names who have not been a part of it the last few weeks. Randall Cobb with a core injury and surgery. The rookie Josh Myers, David Bakhtiari hurt his ACL end of last year. We haven't seen him this year. Jair Alexander just activated. And Zadarius Smith, Chris mentioned earlier. The question is, will the Packers get all, some, or any of those 5 back? They've got a couple of weeks between now and their next meaningful game as Jordan Love has come in at quarterback for Green Bay. And the second-year man hands off, and Patrick Taylor steps in with a big run.
There's Randall Cobb, and when you ask Aaron Rodgers, what was the #1 reason that you were happy with what unfolded this season? Said the return of my best friend. And I thought that was pretty interesting. Yeah, it was just cool. And they did. They had a great combination going. Now he's on IR with a tweak of a core muscle, and so we'll see how that works out. Came back this week, little practice for him.
Taylor eludes that tackle by T.Y. McGill and turns it into a gain just shy of the 30-yard line. Yeah, Rodgers said it's getting Randall back, his family, everybody. I was hoping Rodgers was going to come out for 1 snap to start this drive, hand it off, and then get the big ovation to kind of cap off this home season. 288 yards, 2 touchdowns. Again, no interceptions. Think he plays next week in Detroit?
Not a chance.
All right, so he'll probably end the season with 35 touchdown passes and 4 interceptions, 2 coming in that opener against the Saints.
Yeah, it's Detroit, for whatever their record is, they play a nasty brand of football. They really do. They're a physical bunch of football players over there, but I think you take your chances with Aaron Rodgers being as healthy as he possibly can. We did ask Aaron about, okay, David Bakhtiari comes back on the offensive line, and Josh Myers and whoever else. Do you break up the band out here? Because you guys are rolling. This is working great. He said, Chris, 60% of David Bakhtiari I take all day. And, of course, Josh Myers had a great start to the season, too.
Look at Love get it out quick and throw it to Alan Lazard. And these very knowledgeable fans react. That kind of looked like Rodgers just stepping out and slinging one from the side from the former first-round pick, Jordan Love.
Well, don't you think Aaron Rodgers took a little from Brett Favre,
Exactly
too?
what I was thinking.
Yeah,
Yep.
And so how can you not, right? You watch Aaron Rodgers play this game every single day, and certainly Jordan Love has that kind of arm. He can do some of that stuff. But, and there's a lot inside that brain that came with playing for however many years he's been playing now. Had a good spell on the bench as well, and I think that was the thought all along, that Jordan Love would get that same experience with Aaron.
There he is, doing that same kind of thing, throwing it to Juwan Winfrey. And the second-year man out of Colorado gets a first down with a gain of 12.
You know, it's just so easy to see, right? You see that time it was Harrison Smith. He took a little half jump step back into the middle of the field, and okay, I'm not handing it off. He has leverage. I'm throwing it out there.
Well, Chris, just go back last year. Jordan Love was inactive essentially the entire season. And because Rodgers tested positive for COVID-19, he had to start in the game against Kansas City. He was 19 of 34. Threw a touchdown and a pick, but you saw him out there in a game on the road at Arrowhead. And in all likelihood, you'll get a chance to see him do that again against Detroit next week and get a couple of starts. And look, we saw it with Kansas City a couple of years ago. Sometimes you need somebody to come in and save a game.
Yeah, I mean, there are times that you just don't know what's going to happen, right? And you have to, maybe as much as anything, Jordan Love has to gain the confidence of that offense so that when he comes in the game and there's 2 minutes to go and you have to drive the length of the field for a game-winning touchdown because somebody stepped on Aaron's toe, they have to believe. And if they don't, you're not winning that game.
Chad Henne did it for Kansas City in the playoffs. 2nd and 10. Love scans, throws incomplete. Well, we talked about the potential of Dallas maybe coming here to play a playoff game that would bring back memories of the Ice Bowl. Well, one of the players in that was Dan Reeves. So sad to hear on New Year's Day the passing of 77-year-old Dan Reeves, who threw a touchdown pass in the Ice Bowl, that legendary Cowboys-Packers game. What a football life. Player and coach, a part of 9 Super Bowls. It really scanned generations. Back to Tom Landry, of course. John Elway in Denver. And was the coach who traded up to get Michael Vick in Atlanta. You think about the history of the NFL and somebody who spanned generations. Dan Reeves won too. Our condolences to his family and friends. Love on the run. Right at the mark for the first down on 3rd and 10. He goes and gets 10.
Yeah, with Dan Reeves, I'm always going to think about the Dirty Birds, too. And
oh, yeah.
That was an amazing upset, that one. Went up to Minnesota for that one. For Jordan Love, this is part of the magic of this young man. He is going to be a guy that certainly is going to be able to do some work with his legs. And there's just no question that as this current superstar generation begins to go into retirement, the future of the NFL is going to be guys who can run the football from the quarterback position. It's what's happened in college football, and it's going to happen in the NFL as well.
Smith buzzing in there, couldn't make the tackle. The gain from Patrick Taylor is a yard. You alluded to it. Aaron Rodgers sat 3 years. I remember sitting in this booth Monday night in 2008, and Rodgers made his first start replacing Brett Favre, and there were so many number 4 green and gold jerseys in the stands. Rodgers won that game, and 13 years later, he's still rolling, right? Well, Jordan Love's in year 2 of sitting, and Aaron's the one who has brought up the retirement word. Although he said it's not front of mind, it's not the biggest topic, but he did bring it up on Pat McAfee's show, Aaron's weekly visit with Pat this week. But Love is here, and they're figuring it out and seeing what he's made of. And they've seen a little bit of him here tonight, likely next week at Ford Field. Sheldon Richardson with the tackle there. And we get to the 2-minute warning. So it gives us a second to just check some of the headlines from this week in the NFL. Buffalo won, ending Atlanta's season, but congratulations to Kyle Pitts. First non-quarterback taken in the draft, is the 2nd tight end in NFL history to have 1,000 yards as a receiver. Mike Ditka, the only one in his rookie season. And Jamar Chase and the Bengals, 266, most by a rookie in NFL history in a game in that dramatic Cincinnati win as the Bengals are the division champs. And Brady with that 40th touchdown pass, the one to win it over the Jets. Back-to-back seasons, 40 TD passes, first time in his career. So we have the schedule now. We do not have the schedule. We just have the reminder of the schedule for Saturday and Sunday. The 2 games on ABC and ESPN, 4:30 Eastern and then 8:15 Eastern. And then both CBS and Fox will have doubleheaders at 1 and 4:25 Eastern on Sunday. And Chris, you, Al, and Michelle will have the final game of the season on Sunday Night Football at 8:20 Eastern. Football Night in America at 7 Eastern. And then we'll have the 14 teams all slotted and ready to go in the race to LA in Super Bowl 56.
So what do you think of this year so far, of the 7 playoff spots in each conference and 1 seed instead of 2 buys? What do you think?
I love the fact that it's only 1 team getting a bye. I think it creates intrigue, especially because winning on the road this year has happened a lot. We thought fans are back. No, forget that. No, road teams winning 500 or 50% of the games. You can win anywhere. Anybody can go anywhere on the road and win. The only team to be undefeated at home this year, these guys, the Packers.
Yeah, and when you look at the top competition of who might come in here, they are warm weather teams.
Yep.
You know, and you start going, can they get it done? And I don't know. I just find the whole thing intriguing. I really do. I kind of like it. I kind of like that even those teams that were sub 500 were still relevant coming down the stretch here, because as we've seen throughout the course of the season, you just don't know when a team is going to hit a patch, whether it's COVID or anything else, where things go poorly. But if you're playing the best at the end of the year, you'd like to see them in the playoffs.
Look, Miami opens with a terrible start, wins 7 in a row, gets back in it. You think, hey, maybe they go to Nashville today. If they can win, they'll have a chance to play the Patriots. Maybe they can win the division, and then they lose and they're out. They're done, just like that, after that 7-week run that they had. Bajorquez punch it away. It is a touchback, 19 of net. Vikings will take over the 20th, 1:49 to go. So here are the numbers. Home team in the regular season last year and this year. When fans come back, it'll change, right? No, not at all. 3 games over 500 as opposed to 1 under 500 for the home teams. Well, we're not in Madison, but they're going to jump around here at Lambeau. Celebrate the #1 seed.
We should have done this before the opening on camera. Neither one of us could talk. No, we shouldn't have done that.
No. Been such a great sports year here in Wisconsin. Did an awesome job hosting the Ryder Cup. Packers #1 seed again. The Bucks, the champs. Sean Mannion back in the game for the Vikings. The pass is incomplete. We have a flag, and we have a reminder that the Abbott postgame is going to come up. Catherine will interview the star of the game, and Chris and I will take a peek at the playoff picture. Heading down to the final 16 games
Before
of the
the
season.
pass was thrown, holding, defense, number 24. 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
The game tomorrow night with Pittsburgh and Cleveland. Cleveland eliminated Pittsburgh. Must win to stay alive. Pittsburgh needs to win its last 2 and have the Colts lose to get in. That penalty was the first on the Packers tonight. Jefferson to the 32-yard line. His 6th catch, 58 yards. So 42-year-old Matt LaFleur is going to be 39-9, and that's apples to apples, 48 games to 48 games, one better than George Seifert for the best first 3 years by a head coach to start his NFL career. Pass incomplete. And the Packers are going to get win number 13, and they will win 13 games for the 3rd consecutive season. That a first as well.
Being in leadership positions is really about managing people, right? First and foremost, there's no question that's what it is. And Matt LaFleur has the kind of personality. It's a strong personality. When you talk to Aaron Rodgers, he said, hey, don't think I'm pushing him around. I goes, this is, you know, this guy pushes back hard, and he does that with his coaches and the players, but he also understands a little of the human side of this game, and I think he's very well respected inside this organization.
Well, KJ Osborne just made a sensational one-hand grab, working on Isaac Yiadom down the sideline, playing through the flag to make the catch.
Pass interference, defense, number 24. Penalties decline, result of the play, first down.
See the way he looked that ball all the way in? It's really hard to do that and really force your eyes and your brain to go all the way to the ball to see it. But your chances of making that catch go up exponentially when you do.
32 on that one. From the 38, Mannion in the middle, who's broken up by Chris Barnes again. He's had his hand on a pass each of the last 2 drives. Minnesota will play Chicago in downtown Minneapolis. It's the home finale for the 6th time in 7 seasons. For Mike Zimmer and the Vikings. They'll drop to 7-9, and this will ensure that they will go through all of 2020 and 2021 without ever being above 500. They've been around it a lot, at it, but never above it. Delay a game. Or not. Madison. Tony, Chris, that's the one rule I want changed. I don't want this is a league where you micro analysis of inbounds, catch, no catch. Well, we hit the play clock to 0, and then we wait for somebody to look back at the ball. I don't understand.
Do you want to change it tonight? Now?
No. I'm good for the moment.
You might get outvoted on that.
Mannion in the middle. The pass is incomplete. 32 seconds left. And, of course, sidecar with his Green Bay win is congratulations to Philadelphia as the Eagles will clinch a playoff berth.
All right, let's flip it over to the AFC for 1 minute. You want to take a shot at this, Mr. Trivia?
Well, you know what? You can save it to the postgame when it's planned.
That's what I was going to do all along.
Okay, good. It's a professional tease in the business. It's well done. Fourth and 9. Still into it on this 10-degree night. Mannion, deep shot, nothing doing here. And the Packers will take over and take a knee and take the number 1 seed.
It is all in front of the Green Bay Packers right now. It is just sitting on a platter. All you have to do is just cash in 2 tickets at home, right? I mean, it's all right there.
They're 2 high-priced tickets, though.
2 high-priced tickets, for sure.
You may talk about the Cowboys coming in here, and then Tom Brady. The Rams and Stafford and Cup could be the team coming in. Or Arizona and Kyler Murray. Or San Francisco in their power game. You could see a lot happening. But you're right. It's on their terms. It's on their turf. The Green Bay Packers, number 1 seed. The road to Super Bowl 56 in the NFC comes through Lambeau. And the Minnesota Vikings, back-to-back seasons out of the playoffs. Abbott postgame is coming up, but first these messages from your NBC station.